Hey, all right, welcome to the Tuesday Show. My name's Ultra D.
And I am apparently James jchensor.
Not sure.
Not sure what the last name
is. It may be in the name.
Yeah, I know.
Of the show.
Not sure what the last name. Chen. It is jchensor Chen.
First off, I gotta let you know. That was the first time that I ever heard Felicia's theme, and I didn't love it.
Oh man! But see, I listened to it way back when it was in like the '90s.
Oh, okay. You know, yeah, I described it as being the most '90s song. Yeah, for sure. So we're gonna talk about several things today. We're gonna be talking about this FGC free agency news that just broke earlier today. That some Echo Fox players have been let go, what that may mean, and so forth. We're going to talk about some results from the past weekend, including Thunderstruck in Mexico, TXT down in Bogota. I think there was something else. Maybe Topanga League. Anyway.
The big house.
The big house.
Yes.
We're going to have a little 5-5 matchup.
That's right. All right. So, let's talk about...
There's not a ton of stuff. Oh, we'll also talk about the infiltration thing.
Yeah, why it's so hard to get court documents.
It's taking a while, and I'll kind of go on. At least, I don't know personally what's happening, but I'll give a little bit of a legal sort of background into why it may be taking so long.
Okay, cool. I always like it when we get the legal talk, lawyer talk from Ultra David.
That's my job.
Right.
All right.
It's a lot more interesting than if I sat here and talked about coding.
I don't know. I think that would be interesting. Why not? It's basically the same, but I'm coding
contracts.
Civil society.
I mean, you know what? It's actually, you're right. It is very similar.
I really think it is.
You're trying to write contracts that don't have any of the loopholes, and you're trying to find all the bugs.
Those are programs for the business relationship.
And you're trying to make sure you don't leave any unhandled situations.
Yes.
Which is all coding is about.
I'm telling you. They're
you
similar.
know what? That's actually interesting. I never really thought about that. I never thought about that. Oh,
I code civil society.
Yeah, haircut.
You got a haircut. It looks nice. I like it.
I just got it today.
So the news that came out earlier today is that 3 players from Echo Fox have been let go. Those players are Scar and Theo and Punk.
Right, and that's actually really surprising to me because Punk hasn't even been on the team for a year.
He joined it in March. We looked up the date before we went on the show. Yeah, so it's very recent for him. You know, it's been a common feature of esports teams throughout the FGC and really just throughout esports in general that players are let go, players are picked up. Right? There's always this kind of revolving door. It's never one team stays the same forever. The closest I think the FGC ever got to that was EG, which had the same sort of 2 or 3 or 4 players for 5 years, maybe longer than that. Ricky's still on EG, and she joined EG in, I gotta say, 2011 or 12, like a long time ago. But other than that, it's very common that players move around to different teams.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting about this, though, is that, you know, there's obviously a lot of very strong players there. Yeah. And it's surprising to me that Punk, of all people, was let go. Now, obviously, Punk hasn't had the success that he had since, between Season 1 and Season 2, that little, year period between the second half of Season 1 and the first half of Season 2.
He was maybe the best in the world.
But, I mean, nobody has had that success since then, except maybe Tokido.
And even Tokido is not going to end up with as many grand finals as Punk had last year, which I think was 24.
Right, It was
nobody's going to have that again.
And so it's actually kind of crazy to me that they let him go. I mean, that's not to say that it's also not crazy to me that they let go Scar and Theo, who have been doing really well, right, of late, or no?
I think that's less surprising, to be frank.
Okay.
Scar was definitely top 5 in MKX, maybe top 3. In Injustice 2, it was never like that.
Right, but here's the thing, right? We all know that MK11 has to be on the horizon. It has to be on the horizon. And you have 2 of the premier MK players, right? That could potentially just, once MK drops, they'll be back to form again.
It definitely could be that. That said, we don't know when that game's coming out, if ever. We're all just speculating. We're assuming that it'll be out next year, like it always does, right after 2 years.
True.
But there's no actual word on that. And when it comes to how much money Echo Fox spends, so as a lawyer, some of the players are clients of mine. and I help them negotiate contracts, or even just review the contracts to make sure they're not getting screwed.
Of course.
It can be as hands off as that. Sometimes I'm in nittier grittier, but
stuff,
exactly,
coding some contracts,
right. So I don't know what all of the business relationship programs, aka contracts, are between Echo Fox and the players, but I can tell you from the ones that I've seen, they are giant. I mean, I would say, in some cases, 3 to 4 times what other players are getting. Other good players are getting.
Dang. Okay.
Like they're very large. And I don't know what they all look like, but the ones that I've seen are huge. So they are spending a ton of money. And I feel like I've said in the past on the show that I was surprised that they were doing that as much as they were, that they were picking up as many players, and that they, again, I don't know all their salaries. I'm not sure that they're all that high, but they're not going to be bad from that team, that's for sure. So they're spending a lot of money. And by the way, it wasn't just the FGC team that was let go. Also, their Call of Duty team was let go. And now I literally just read this before I went on the air, but there was another team as well that people will remind me in the chat. So it's not just the Gears of War. Thank you.
Okay.
It's not just the FGC team. They are paring it down.
Dang.
To some degree.
Okay, so that is a scary sign right there, right? I mean, look, we've talked about this, how many teams come and go, and they just disappear on us and everything, or promising teams will just disappear and all their players get dropped, et cetera, et cetera. And, you know, a lot of these companies do function off of investors, venture capitalists, those kind of things like that. And so really, honestly, it's just another sign of how volatile the esports industry really is. You know, you could be Punk. I mean, like I said, he's kind of on the come up, back up. Like, I feel like he's getting back.
Recently.
Recently he's doing really well, and he's getting back up to that point right now. But, you know, it's just this is how volatile this industry is.
Right.
And I don't know. What are your, like, you've often talked about the volatility of this. You're like, you know, I got to keep my day job. You know, I keep thinking to myself, do I need to go back to a day job, et cetera, et cetera. And, you know, it's been rough. And this is just kind of a sign of that whole entire thing. And I don't know, it makes it, I feel like it's, you know, these players really have to make sure they stay relevant and they stay competitive and they are good. Again, not only just at playing the game, but also at presenting themselves.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. Look, as a player, you can only somewhat control where you end up in tournament placings, right? Only to some degree. You can control a lot how much you're doing in terms of social media and content production and things like that can help you maintain a public profile, that can help you maintain fans that are important for esports teams.
Right.
So I wish that the players were doing more. But you're right that there is volatility, and what I've heard just recently was that a couple of big venture capitalists were planning to pull out of esports teams. And I didn't know which capitalists, which VCs those were. I didn't know which teams were affected. I don't know that Echo Fox is one of them.
Right. This is speculation. I got to flash the word speculation. I was like, speculation. Right. Exactly.
It definitely could be unrelated. But
because you know that first part is going to get clipped, and now it's just going to be clipped without the whole speculation.
Yeah,
that's how it works
on
the internet. So
it's probably happening right now because you said it. So there is some volatility in it, and I think we've also addressed this in the past, that I believe that there's a little bit of a bubble in esports that's forming, maybe has formed already. Not to the degree that it has existed in a couple of times before. Like, it's not going to be the total blow up that happened in like the mid-late zeros, but you know, is an Overwatch team really worth $20 million? Like, I don't know. You know. that seems like a stretch to me. So, there is volatility. I think that's to be expected. I think as a player, it's definitely unfortunate, but like we said, wish that players were doing more in terms of creating their content and public persona. I do think that there is an encouraging sign from this, which is that the 2 games are being let go entirely, right? COD and Gears. Some fighting game players are sticking around. I feel like in times past, it may have been that fighting game players were just dumped.
They were the first ones to go, usually.
Exactly. Exactly. So the fact that there are some players sticking around still is good. You know, Justin Wong is not just... I mean, he's both sides of it, right? He's both an excellent player, finishing well, and also very well known. He does a great job when it comes to social media. He makes stuff. He just put up like a food vlog. Like he does all these he does like all these things. So he's not somebody that you're gonna let go. And I'm glad that a big esports team recognizes that. They see value in at least some players in the FGC, even when they're having to make decisions about which players to let go and which even games to stop supporting in general. Still, some fighting game players are sticking around. So I think that is an encouraging sign, at least.
I mean, it's kind of an interesting situation because I know a lot of these esports teams. I've talked to different players before in the past. You know, I won't name any names of players or organizations, but I don't think I have to because they're all like this. But I've heard stories about people talking about, like, it's almost like some of these people don't quite understand the volatility of competitive gaming. It's like, if you're not winning every single event, they're like, we're disappointed in you. And it's like, what the hell? Like, that's not even possible. No. Like, I don't care what game you're playing unless it's Melee. Right? Unless it's Melee.
Even still, I mean, there's a handful of guys, but nobody wins every event.
Right, exactly. And so I've heard that there are these organizations that are like, oh, you're not winning everything? We can't keep you anymore. And it's like, dude, that's nuts because nobody wins everything except maybe like Sonic Fox, right? And Tokido, which Echo Fox is keeping those two. So, you know, they're obviously not going anywhere, or at least I hope not. Knock on wood, because who knows what the hell.
I mean, if you're letting those guys go, then there's big problems. Because those are people to stick around.
Then I would have to ring up Rick Fox and be like, what's going on,
what's
bro?
Up, Rick? Yeah.
What's going on, bro?
Hey, Ricky.
Oh man.
Yeah, I think that's so anyway, I do find a little bit of encouragement in it, but I think that it's correct to say that there's just like inherently volatility in esports, and it's going to take, I feel, a really long time for that to go away.
Yeah, but the crazy thing is,
decades, literally.
Punk not being at tip-top competition, that's kind of a scary thing. People in the chat right now are talking about how Punk was expected because he wasn't in tip-top competition. But the crazy thing about it is, that's a problem because that's the expectations he set for himself with the success that he had early, right? Because some players haven't been that successful recently. People haven't been winning as much, right? But again, I feel like Punk is doing normal compared to what like a lot of other strong players are.
By doing well, as we'll talk about at Thunderstruck over the past weekend, he actually put himself into a likely qualifying position for Capcom Cup. Right? He's got a great chance at it now. He's at the end of it, but he can definitely qualify now. So he's like in the top 25 in points in the world. He is not doing bad.
Right.
What are you talking about?
But you know what? Maybe he also knew he was being dropped, and that kind of motivation, kind of helps. Because I'll tell you one thing, this happens in sports all the time, right? A player gets this max contract signed to some crazy team, and all of a sudden they just stop playing.
I've heard.
There's it's not intentional. It's not like the guy's like, I'm comfortable, but it's just somehow that kind of, that hunger maybe just disappears a little bit, So, I don't know, maybe that happened for Punk, right?
I don't know. I would like to know, and I don't, whether he knew in advance. I mean, I'd like to think that he didn't find out like an hour before he was put public, but you never know.
Right.
You never know. I don't know how it worked.
Yeah, well, I mean, so someone in the chat, Gamer Till Death, mentions that, he has less followers on Twitter than other guys, and that's a situation as well, right? I mean, I still remember I've told this story many times, having this conversation with Flocker, was, after he won EVO, he didn't do anything on social... 3. Yeah, in Marvel 3, he wasn't doing anything on social media, and I was kind of chastising him about that, right? And he's like, I don't get it. Like, 50,000 or almost 100,000 people watched me win EVO on stream, right? And why isn't that more important than having, 10K followers? And I was like, because probably most of those people on stream were rooting for Justin. I was like, let's be honest here, right? And and also in a situation is when people are following you, they want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
That's why they're following you, right? And so, it is kind of a fucked up thing to say, but there's truth to it, right? I'm just trying to bring the perspective into him. It's not like when a team wins the NBA Finals, everyone who watches it goes, "Yay, that team!"
Yeah.
There's gonna be like a half people who are just like, God, stupid team, like that kind of thing, right? And so yeah, exactly. And Justin had that crazy losers bracket run. I remember I cried that year after the grand finals because of how hard Justin. It was the same reason why I cried when GamerBee. Both of them had those losers bracket runs, and then they just fell short at the end.
Were those the same year? No.
It wasn't the same year. No. Okay, but like both of them made me cry.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that year that that Flocker won, I think that was the most toasted I ever got at Evo. I think I finished a whole handle of tequila that day. Oh my god. Man, I think there was a lot of. Yeah, that sounds right. 2013 or so.
But the whole point is that social media is a very important aspect of it, and regardless of whether or not you can or cannot follow him because of work, Sonic Fox has a really powerful social media
Sonic
presence.
Fox is, yeah, for sure. He's fantastic at it. He brings in.
This is true, Jonesy. He says everything makes me cry, and that is
that's
actually true. It's actually true.
Yeah, and Sonic Fox brings in like dedicated crowds. He's a very smart kid. He's does funny and cool things, and is
King Offsuit says for work reasons he has to follow. So yep.
Dang.
I do the whole thing where I follow certain key people that I hope they all retweet stuff onto my timeline. Is basically how I do it.
All right.
I follow the key people that can retweet stuff. So.
I just use TweetDeck so I avoid people's likes.
I don't have to see that stuff. Okay.
Anyway, look, people have been talking about in the chat how esports teams even make money. Like, how does that even work in the first place? So there's a few different ways. One of them is that maybe you take a split of what players win, some percentage. If they win enough money, then you take a cut. Another is that maybe you're trying to sell merchandise based around the player, jerseys, but not even just jerseys, shirts, hats, whatever it is.
Right.
Another is that you are using the players as advertising space. Right. That may be the biggest way that money's involved.
Right. Because that's the thing is, if your team constantly is in top 8s that are the biggest broadcast, and so all you do here is Echo Fox this, Echo Fox that, Echo Fox that, that becomes tempting for sponsors like HyperX, like Asus or something like that to be like partnered with Echo Fox, because then
in that picture of Punk that you put up, were there any logos that were on his little jersey there?
I believe so.
Probably, right?
Let's go back to the title here. Yeah, so you can see.
Ooh, there's something there. We can't. It's a little cut off, but the point is that like you see those logos a lot, and the way advertising works is like it's not that you're going to be like, oh, he's wearing a HyperX thing, I'm going to go buy that. It's just about keeping inside your brain.
Right, because the thing about it is what happens, and I realized this myself, commercials and things like that are not immediate like, hey, go buy this now. Oh, shoot, I want to go buy this. It's more like, I see this random Drano commercial on TV, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then like 2 years later, your toilet clogs up and you're like, crap, I need to find something. You go to the store and you're like, I've never heard of this, but I've heard of Drano, so this must be legit. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's all it is. It's the long con, basically, is how advertising works. So, yeah.
Anyway, so those are basically the ways. And so if a player is not like consistently showing up in top 8s, they're not making money for the team if the team's taking a split. They're not making money for the team in the sense that fewer people are seeing the player in the advertising that's involved. And so there's just fewer opportunities to like monetize the player, right? So that makes sense that on Best of 5, Ace King Offsuit earlier was saying that he thinks that there's just a finite number of people who can be sponsored based on results. I think that's true because there's just only so many people who are going to make top 8 consistently.
Right.
Whether there's 10,000 players or 10 or whatever it is, like there's just a number of players who are going to be up there consistently enough for that to make sense, and it's not that high. Not that many people.
I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think it's going to be hard for Punk to find another team. He just has to make sure he finds a good one, right? One that'll treat him well, because that's what I'm always worried about, is that we're going to end up in those situations where, hey, I got this sponsor, oh, they disappeared. Oh, I got this sponsor, oh, they didn't pay me the promised money, and which has happened to a lot of people.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
And then, of course, there's going to be the smaller teams that are going to take risks on up-and-comers and hoping those guys make it big, and then they can get into the limelight that way.
Do you mean exactly what Panda Global did last year by picking up Punk preemptively, and then he was the biggest player in the world, and then they parlayed that into infiltration?
We'll
talk about how that's gone. But that was the plan, and it worked great for a while.
For a while, but maybe they can parlay Punk back into Punk.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Oh, man.
I do think that there's a bubble in esports. Like I said, I think that some of the valuations going on are pretty wild. I think that some of the salaries, even being played to fighting game players, are probably not sustainable.
Okay.
That said, I think there's a good sort of lower echelon of esports that's not a bubble. That's a little bit more sustainable. And I think a lot of the FGC is in that.
Yeah.
And I don't just mean the way that tournaments are run, the way that streams are run. I mean, in terms of the actual teams that are more endemic to the fighting game scene, I think that many of them are pretty sustainable. And even some teams that are not like just from the fighting game scene, I think that they're doing fine. So I don't expect like a big shattering of the FGC or players or whatever. I don't think everybody's going to be knocked out. I'm not that concerned when it comes to even what I describe as a bubble. But are players going to keep making $200K next year? I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, this might be a good wake-up call for some of those players like Theo and Scar. I don't want to just only talk about Punk. Obviously, they were let go as well. And I forgot which one. It was either Scar or Theo who tweeted out there like, "Oh yeah, I'm in free agency now." But then they kind of hinted like, motivation, like is escalated now. It's good. Time. It's time to get themselves back into shape and stuff like that. So, but I mean, the interesting thing is now, obviously, Punk might be the hottest free agent out there right now. I mean, was there anything else you wanted to say about Punk as a free agent or
Sounds
anything
right
like
to me.
that? He's probably one of the biggest free agents right now, right? And there's a lot of small teams, and there are a lot of small teams out there that have talked to me before and been like, "Oh, who do you think is good to be sponsored right now?" I've had a few people ask me for my opinion on that and things like that, and I've actually I have my own personal people that I feel like should be sponsored right now based off of on lots of different games, right? But
okay,
do you want me? I was gonna ask who you feel like it. Or do you want me to?
Yeah, go for it.
So my whole thing is like I think that there's a bunch of players out there that I think are good enough to be sponsored, and I'm not even just talking about the big obvious ones like Punk right now, right? Like he's got to get sponsored pretty soon, right? And most of the Cap CPT top whatever are all sponsored right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow, they already changed Punk. Good job.
Dang,
I'm looking on the Capcom Pro Tour website.
He's actually not PG Punk anymore. Yeah.
You mean EF Punk?
EF Punk, right. Jeez. PG Punk just kind of rolled off the tongue.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah. So, for me, I have some players. My goal is to look for the players who do have the potential to be really, really strong and to help maybe a smaller team try to get into bigger place, and also selfishly so those players can travel more and become good, because I feel like there are a bunch of players who are on that cusp of becoming super, super good. And so obviously I'm going to be biased in one way in that, I would like to see Commander Jesse, SD Pinoy.
Okay.
Like I would like to see those two guys get sponsored because
that would be cool.
They're SoCal. I love them to death. They're good friends of mine and everything like that. And I think they're very strong. And I think they've both already achieved that level where they can do better than they are. Now it's probably just the travel experience that they're not getting. You know what I mean? Kind of situation.
Yeah.
So, and then in the non-selfish route, I actually feel like two players that I saw do well at SCR and other tournaments as well. I think Mojo is really strong right now.
Very strong.
I think Mojo is really strong, and I think Toy is really strong.
Very strong.
I think those two guys really, really need to be sponsored in terms of Street Fighter players. So those are probably the four ones that are on my radar right now that I feel like should be sponsored. Yeah. Not counting Punk, not counting the obvious. You were just looking through that list. I think Mago was unsponsored.
Yeah, Mago, Gachkun. CJ Truth is pretty far up there.
Yeah, so guys like that, right? But I would like to see Mojo. Dude, you saw Mojo's. He created the Mojo Dojo, right? I mean, that's just it's like the greatest thing ever, dude.
Didn't Cool Kid get let go?
Oh, did he? I can't remember now.
Right. Am I right about that?
You might be right about that.
Samurai would be a great guy to see more often.
Yeah.
No, did he not let go of my... Isn't there some news like that? I'm trying to look it up now. But anyway,
Samurai's actually a really good choice too.
I mean, he's been sponsored in the past.
Right.
He had a big team in the past.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's Broly Legs as well. Broly Legs, I feel like needs to get some travel time as well.
Look, honestly,
Broly Legs
is
in our chat right now, so he's talking here. So
Cool Kids is not. That's what I thought.
Yeah. Okay.
So no, all jokes aside, I would love to see Broly Legs get sponsored. I think he's, as I've often said, one of the most inspirational people in the FGC, and somebody who would be awesome to see more often around. He's a good player, and you know, it's not. It wouldn't just be that like I'd love to see him more often as just an inspirational person. But he's a good player too.
Okay, and then you know, even just thinking about some other games, for example. Again, kind of biased here, but I feel like Reynold needs to be sponsored.
Oh, okay.
For Dragon Ball.
Okay.
I mean, come on.
Okay.
And he's doing a good job putting out funny clips too. I don't know if you saw like one of his most recent clips. He was just like, he like lands a level 3. He's like, okay, I'm gonna bait out the uppercut, and what's gonna happen is I'm gonna get him to go to the other side, do the wrong thing, and I'm gonna 2H him and kill him.
Okay.
And literally, it was like knocks him down, switch sides. He came out with the wrong thing, 2H, he killed him, and he was just like laughing the whole entire time. And then there was another clip that he sent out. He's like, I'm just going to kill him with 5H.
I did see that clip.
Yeah, and then he just like 5H'd the guy to death, and that was the only button he used after that. So,
I did see that.
You know, Reynold is doing a good job on, I feel like, the social media front as well, you know. So Reynold, I think, would be a good player to sponsor for Dragon Ball.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I'm also excited about...
Thanks, Broly Legs.
Oh, thanks, Broly Legs. Yay, Broly Legs. Subscribed. But also, that's kind of why I'm excited about the Arc World Tour. Now that there is a world tour for that, we're going to see the people who are, you know, going to shine in that and hopefully get sponsored for anime games as well. So
cool.
Yeah. What about you?
No, I think that's a pretty good list. I've been trying to think about players who I think from the NRS scene need to be sponsored, and I'm not sure I can think of one, to be frank.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
I think most of those guys are locked up with at least like a minor team. And it's... Well, I mean, look, when Injustice 2 first came out, I thought that it was going to get bigger in terms of esports dollars. That hasn't really played out. There wasn't even like for sure a second season of Injustice 2 when it comes to the like, world tour. So yeah, I think I am, you know, I would love to see it more. I just am not sure that I could like justify that to anybody.
Right. I mean, I'm looking through the Tekken list.
Yeah, I mean, Scar and Theo having just left Echo Fox, that's true. But other than that,
I mean, I'm looking through the Tekken list here, but unfortunately, a lot of them don't have the standings. Don't list their actual teams on here. But if Jimmy Tran is not sponsored, he needs to be sponsored.
I don't think he is, right?
I don't think he is. I don't. That's the thing, is there's nothing that comes to my mind if anybody else in. Yeah, some dumb goy probably needs to be sponsored. So, but Callisto said that Jimmy is not sponsored. So yeah, he is a player that needs to be sponsored as well.
Yeah, but I think Ryan's probably right that he's not looking for one. I think that's probably true.
You think so? Oh, some dumb goy, you mean, or Jimmy?
Yeah, Jimmy.
You don't think so?
I don't know, maybe.
Okay.
I mean, I think he certainly could. If he wants it, for sure, of course.
I mean, honestly, Tekken is really going places right now. I feel like Tekken is really on the up and up, and if players are really, if companies are looking for good fighting game players to sponsor, I think they really need to look in the Tekken community right now.
That would be great.
So.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
You know who should be picked up is, let's see, maybe Eris or Flo. I'm just trying to think of Soul Calibur players. I don't know. Dan the Nightmare from 30 years ago.
Oh, there you go. Okay,
but that game's coming out soon, and that's basically all I want to think about these days. Soul Calibur.
You're all in there, huh?
I'm super in there.
You like weapon fighters now, I
have been playing Soul Calibur 2.
That's so crazy, dude.
I've been in training mode in arcade.
Yes. Pokechop.
Oh, Pokechop doesn't have a sponsor?
Yeah, that's right. I remember seeing that he's been looking for a sponsor.
Okay.
So Pokechop definitely needs to get sponsored.
By the way, very cool to see that, again, I think we've talked about this in the past, but our Street Fighter, Reddit Street Fighter, has sponsored players.
Oh, yeah.
As, you know, our Kappa did in the past. I'd love to see that kind of thing more often again. That'd be super cool. I love the idea of community-funded players. But. Anyway, is there anything else to say about this topic?
Not much. Just that, like I said, I would really like to see a lot of the smaller players like Toy, like XSK Samurai, like Uncle Jesse.
Uncle Jesse.
Dude, I've said that so many times by accident, and that's reference to two different things, by the way.
Okay.
That's Full House and Dukes of Hazzards. Okay. There's an Uncle Jesse in both of those. So.
Okay.
But yeah, Commander Jesse needs to get sponsored, and I'd like to see players like that. Even someone like Mono getting sponsored, I think would be cool.
That would be great. He has been in the past. Yeah. El Chakotay, maybe.
Yeah,
I think there are good players out there who can deserve it.
Exactly. So.
All right.
Okay. Well, do you want to take a break, or do you want to just move right on into?
How long has this been?
It's half an hour.
Yeah, let's take a break. Do you have all the results for those things yet?
We'll
double check.
Okay,
we'll take a break and make sure, and then we'll be back here in just a little bit.
Okay, be right back, guys.
Dang, you got an El Chakotay emote? That's pretty sick.
Oh, nice.
Sup?
Oh, how was your weekend?
My weekend, huh? I played Soul Calibur 2. No, that wasn't it. I did though play Soul Calibur 2. I played Street Fighter 5. I played BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle. I played Injustice 2. I played Hearthstone. And that's it.
Dang, okay. My friend came over and...
I worked also. Anyway, go on.
We went to Not Scary Farm this weekend.
Yeah, okay.
So we do that every year. It's kind of our thing that we have, like a yearly trip to Not Scary Farm. So, and he also brought over his copy of Detroit Become Human, which is the same people who made like Heavy Rain and stuff like that.
Yeah, I remember the game. Yeah, and, I never played it.
Yeah, he had me play it because he really wanted to see what I did. So,
what'd you think? I've heard varying things.
It's interesting. Okay, so Heavy Rain has the problem, spoilers, of that, which, like, all of your decisions that you make, like, the characters can't really die until very, very late in the game, and, like, there's a very famous clip of one particular chapter where you're chasing someone through the supermarket,
I have seen
and he just didn't do anything.
I've seen it, yeah. It's hilarious.
The guy looks so incompetent. He's like, oh my god, he trips over excuse me, what? Yeah. But it makes
right through the fruit.
Absolutely no difference and everything. You know, in the end is still the end. He can't, and everything. Yes, and the Sean clip as well. I've seen that as well. Sean! But in this game, so my best friend wanted me to play it because he really wanted to see what I would do in one particular part. Because the other cool thing is that all the decisions that matter after the chapter's over, they show you the branch of all the stuff that you can do.
Oh, really?
And they show you the percentage of everybody's first playthrough on what they did. And he had one he was at the 1% and everybody else was at the 99%.
Okay.
And it resulted in one of the characters dying instantaneously. So he played only 2/3 of the game, like, for the first time through.
Huh.
Because they actually let a character die. So there's a lot more. Yeah, there's a lot more to it. So it's actually kind of cool.
All right. Sounds nifty. Mm-hmm. You got the old results. We got... What do we got here? Thunderstruck. We got TXT. There was a Topanga.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the Topanga stuff. Do you have the Big House results anywhere?
Why, yes I do.
If you can grab that and the Topanga ones, that would be good.
I have both of those.
I had Smash.gg up.
Soul Calibur.
That's all you're thinking of. I also did lab some Tekken last night. Just doing some lab work, just trying to figure out more.
Sure.
Like understanding mix-ups and stuff like that. I watched a video on some king strategies, and it sparked some ideas. So, got some new ideas going on. Yeah, that's right. I saw Leffen chuck the controller. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. So, Anyways, I'm assuming the ads are done and stuff.
Do it.
Okay, hang on a second. Let me keep going through a couple of things.
I'm going to be playing Astaroth at a minimum and maybe Ivy as well.
Ugh, gesundheit.
Just depends on how much time I want to spend with the game, that's all. Whether I can realistically, like, keep playing other games at the same time or what. We'll figure it out.
Okay. I'm just gathering some news here, that's all.
All right. Well, you can do that after the thing, right?
Okay, sure, no problem. Ready?
I'm going to be playing Little Mac and Smash Ultimate.
Oh, you're going back to Little Mac, huh?
Yeah, I'm not going to learn anything new.
Okay, cool. Okay, be right back.
Alrighty, no, I would never play DDD. That sounds like a terrible idea. I didn't even play DDD back in Brawl, which I actually played in tournaments.
What is it about DDD that you don't like?
He's just like a big, ugly dude with large range and slow buttons. I don't get it. I don't get it myself.
You would never play a big,
I
large,
played Rob
ugly dude?
in that game.
You would never play a big, ugly dude with big range?
Does that sound like me? I don't understand. No, I just thought he looked dumb. Basically, the reason.
Okay.
I just thought he looked too dumb.
Fair enough. Okay.
All right, what happened the past weekend? Some events went down. There were tournaments here and there.
Yes, Thunderstruck.
It was a big one.
That one took place in Mexico.
Yep.
Was a Capcom ranking event.
Yes, it was.
But it was a Saga event for Dragon Ball, if I'm not mistaken.
You are correct.
Was it a ranking event for Tekken?
I'm not sure about that, but if you scroll down slightly, you'll find out. I don't think it was, but I'm not sure at all.
I don't think so because they had the same, obviously, the premiere event in.
Yeah.
Bogota.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, but as for Dragon Ball, that was definitely a big deal.
There were also big KOF tournaments here.
And it's one of those things that again, I know it's really tough for the Latin FGC, Latin American FGC. So I'm always trying to promote them and get them, some more eyes and stuff like that. It's a very similar situation, right? Since they're a ranking event, they streamed on Team Sabroso. Or was it Team Sabrosa? I
think that's the second one, yeah.
And, it's an unfortunate situation because then nobody's subscribed to it ahead of time, so a lot of people don't know about it, so it's really hard to spread the word, and so, got to do what we can over social media and everything like that. So, I feel like Capcom Pro Tour should like maybe start up a stream and then host them or something like that. Or
that makes a lot of sense to me.
It's why the hosting function in Twitch is so odd to me because there's no notification that someone gets hosted. You know what I mean? Now, obviously, you can auto-host things, so it's going to get kind of messy. You're just going to get notifications all over the place. But,
Anyway, at Street Fighter V there, it was, basically American players and then some Mexican players and then one Panamanian, if I recall correctly. Pinoy did well. Cool to see for him. Cannibal, who I have known as a player for, I feel like 15 years, having watched him play a whole bunch of different games. I think he was a strong Hugo back in SF4 even. I thought he'd be playing Abigail nowadays, but I guess he's still sticking with Urian. That was cool. Doomsnake got 5th with Vega. He continues. Here's the thing that to me is the most impressive. He came in on the
winner side, right, and then lost 2 in a row, if I'm not mistaken, right? Let me take a look at the match log.
Wait, what are you talking
about? Doomsnake. He came in on winner's side? No, he came. Yeah, he came in on top 8 winners.
I thought you meant he made winners finals. Yeah.
And he came in on winner's side and then lost 2, went out 2, and then.
So character's not great, but he does such a good job at some things. His command grab punishes are the best. He does.
Yeah, I saw you talk about
He
that.
never other people you'll see if they notice that the opponent's gone for an SPD and it whiffs, they'll do a Vega slide or some similar button for their character.
It's the pre-nerf punish that they do. Oh crap, gotta punish him while I can.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, fastest thing you have. No. He walks up for close fierce into stance change into the whole business.
Yeah.
Or he does a full jump roundhouse combo. He never lets it go. So he does really, really well with the character, but there's just limitations, I feel.
Yeah, obviously. But El Tigre, that Laura was nasty. And again, you know, I know a lot of people feel like Laura's sufficiently nerfed compared to last season, but I don't know, it just feels like US dropped Laura outside of like IDOM. I know Eli still plays.
Yeah, no, she's rare, for sure.
That. But like, she's not used that much, but outside the U.S., I feel like people are still using her decently. Not in Asia.
Not that many.
In Europe and in Latin America,
a couple
she's
in
still
both.
played. Yeah. So in those areas, I feel like she's still being played. And I feel like she still has potential. Like, no one ever puts her in the list of, like, the bottom-tier characters.
Definitely not.
She's definitely top mid-tier, you know.
Yeah,
kind of like
mid-high, something like that.
Yeah, but for some reason, no one uses her, and like people don't talk about her as a threat. But you saw right there what El Tigre was doing.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
very. I mean, Laura is probably still one of the biggest snowball characters in the game.
Oh yeah, absolutely right.
You know, so she could just be dying, and then one hit, and then it's just like gone. Your whole life is dead.
Yeah.
So
JB was looking good, and in fact, he got into grand finals on winner's side, and then Punk came in on loser's side with Karen and won 6 straight games and only lost a single round in doing so. It was a blow-up.
Yeah. And
it was a big blow-up.
And that's kind of what we knew from Punk. That's the Punk that we know.
Yeah.
From Punk of old, who would just come in and just be like, whatever. And honestly, I think a lot of it does have to do with the fact that he's gone back to Karen, because I just feel like that character fits him. I forgot which event it was that I just saw him at, but I was talking to him, and I just said to him, I was like, Cammy doesn't. Yeah. Might have been DreamHack or, what was it? Oh, no, it was at the Toronto thing.
Oh, okay.
It was at the Toronto, it was at the NA Playground thing. I was talking to him, and I was just like, Cammy is not for you.
Yeah.
I was like, Cammy is not the right character for you. I was like, stick with Karen. And I think that's going to benefit him in the long run. So, yes, Karen is not top 5
Well,
tier.
I believe she's getting buffed, as we'll talk about later when we talk about the input lag.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
All right, anything else to say about Street Fighter here?
Yeah, actually, Smug did not make top 8. Lost early on in pools. Chris T got double jeopardied by an Abigail player in pools.
Dang.
This is just, again, and we'll get into this when we talk about TXT as well, but the Latin America region is so strong in fighting games, and it sucks that they just don't get the opportunity to display themselves. And we just need to get some premier events down there. And, you know, like, I've talked about it a lot on Twitter, and a lot of these organizations have been hitting me up, like, hey, you want to come down? And I'm like, would love to, but I mean, like, unless they fly me out, I can't really do that.
Yeah.
But, you know, if they do, I would love to go down. I would love to support them. I mean, it really kind of started when I first, like, went down to Chile, you know, for Festa Game that one year. And when I was talking to them, talking to Kane Blue River, talking to the speedrunner, the Resident Evil speedrunner, Rebecca, and all these other people, like, they're so talented. There's all this skill down there. They just don't have the ability to display it because they're trapped down there in a way, you know, because they can't travel easily. The visas are hard. Not only that, it's super expensive for them to make it out of there. And then it was interesting because I was talking to somebody else about stuff like this and things that we don't even think about, right? So, what was it? Was it like a season pass or something like that? But they were talking about, like, you know, where DLC for a fighting game, like, oh, hey, you know, you're going to spend $20 for the season pass for this every year. Doesn't sound like a huge amount of money to us. For people in Latin America, that's like once you actually get, you know, with the economic transit, you know, obviously they don't make as much money. $20 for a season pass for a DLC is a lot of money for them, and it's really hard for them to keep up. And so they just have so many disadvantages down there. I feel like if we could just get some more. I mean, I love the fact that Dragon Ball Thunderstruck was a saga event, and like Tekken did Pagoda, and got Capcom. Catch up, dude. Capcom needs to catch up on this and get some premiere events down there, man. They need to get some premiere events.
I hear that.
Yep. Okay.
All right.
Anyway,
Street Fighter happened. Let's move on.
Yeah, sorry.
That's cool.
Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball Fighters.
So Dragon Ball Fighters was also there, and a lot of the U.S. players went down there, and they seem to have dominated.
Yeah, right. I mean, not entirely. Like, if you scroll down a little bit, there were some American players.
Lord Knight got 13th, for example.
Yeah. But, no, you're right. The top 4 were all from the U.S., That said, I do think that the players who showed up there showed really, really good play.
Okay.
Like, they all, I mean, if you look at the top 4 from the U.S., Hook Gang God, first place, Super Noon second, Apology Man, To Kill Sage, like, that's on the short list of, like, the best players just in general. Like, worldwide. So I don't think it's, like, a big down for Mexican players or for the Latin American scene that these are the players who were up on top. I think they did well. It was cool.
I mean, where's Jinx from? Is he from Latin America?
Yeah, I believe he's from
He's the highest
Mexico.
place. So Chris G got 5th place there. But
yeah,
I mean, it seems to be continually dominated by the NRG pair right there, Hook and God and Super Moon. Congratulations to them. So, was Nakil at this tournament or no?
I didn't see him, but I didn't watch a ton of it.
Okay. They also had a KOF tournament.
Yeah, it was part of the Neo Geo World Tour.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So they had KOF 14 and they had 98 as well.
Okay, so
he was there.
So Nakil was there. Yeah. Okay, because I saw someone mention him with a Bible thump in there. So I'm assuming he just kind of drowned or something like that in the tournament.
Top 32. He's the special beam cannon.
Okay. But yeah, King of Fighters.
I watched the grand finals. It was cool. There was a reset in it.
Okay, cool.
It was fun.
So that's why there was a 98 tournament there as well.
Yeah, right? But dude, I mean, so as I was watching, I forget if it was the Street Fighter or the Dragon Ball, you could hear in the background these crazy cheers. Like, dude, it was KOF.
It's great. I love it.
It was KOF for sure.
It.
You could hear it in the background of the other streams. So that's pretty sick.
And dude, I would love that kind of. See, that's the thing. Is that Latin America has that kind of energy. Like that's the audience that you want to show in your like check out our scene videos, right? I mean, not having a premier event in Latin America, I feel like you are just wasting an opportunity here. Because if you just brought something down there, you had a premier event in Puerto Rico, or if you had a premier event in Game Over in Dominican Republic, or in Chile, or in Argentina, or something like that, and then you got all, I mean, it would be a premier event. Everybody in Latin America would try to make it there, right? And then everybody in the world would try to make it there. And the upsets that you would get, and the audience just going nuts.
Would be cool.
So sick.
I'm with you.
So sick. Anyway,
Kula won 14. Who won in 98?
98 was Zabier.
Okay.
Zabier. And they had Smash Brothers there as well, and some Guilty Gear Rev 2, which Lord Knight won that one. So.
All right.
Okay. So, again, just for people who are unawares, we're not reading off all the results as we have in the past, because it's not necessarily...
Watch Best of 5. They do a better job with that anyway.
Yeah, they have graphics and everything.
They do.
Graphics.
They spend time on it. I have respect to that.
Who has time to do that, dude?
So then you had TXT 2018, which was in Colombia.
Yes.
As you said, in Bogota.
Bogota.
It's Bogota.
Bogota. Okay.
Well, now you got me saying Bogota.
Yeah. I mean, that's like, Esteban, right?
Yeah.
The first time I met him, I was like, hey, what's up, Esteban?
Yeah.
Right? And everybody else calls him Esteban.
Yeah.
And he was like, you're the only person who pronounces my name right? Because he's like, I don't even pronounce my name right.
Oh, really?
He calls himself Esteban as well. And like his mom apparently is like, why do you not call yourself Esteban? I was the only one who said, but now I call him Esteban because everybody calls him that as well.
That's all I've ever heard. So.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be Esteban. That's what it's supposed to be. So
anyway, Bogota, Colombia.
Yeah, so this was actually a pretty big deal because a lot of the U.S. players went down there to try to take this event.
Yeah, this was the Masters for Tekken, so it was a big deal.
And guess what? It was not won by a U.S. player, even though Run It Black was there, Fergus was there, P. Ling was there. Dude, even Dimeback was there. Dimeback from
Korea. There were international players, for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of players who made it there. Speed Kicks finished in 13th. Bin Chang finished in 13th place as well. I mean, that's a pretty good lineup there. But first place went to Abel del Maestro. And I don't think he's from Colombia.
I heard he's Peruvian.
Peruvian, yeah. It was another one of those areas, but it was another Latin America region. But how about that?
That's great.
See, there you go.
It's awesome.
It's a perfect example.
He played really well too.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm no pro in that game, but he did a good job.
Perfect example there of players that just don't get a chance. Who was the other one? There was also another player that was doing super well with Eliza.
Okay.
I can't remember which player that was, but yeah, it's just another great example of the talent all over the world here. you know, you would see that list and you see all these, you know, like Korean players and stuff like that, like Dimeback, you would think that they would be like a given to get in the top 3 and stuff. Yeah. So it's really, really impressive.
Yeah, it was sick. Good job.
My opinion. So, yeah, so there you go.
Love to see him more often if that's at all doable.
Mm-hmm. So shout outs once again to Tekken World Tour for having a Masters event in Latin America. So good job. That's
in Colombia.
In Colombia.
Bogota. Colombia.
Bogota.
Anyway, there was also the Big House, which happened the past weekend. Huge event for Smash, of course. In Smash Bros. 4, I saw a video of Toon Link player beating, I think it was Salem. Yeah, beating Salem's Bayonetta, if I recall correctly, which is pretty cool. That's all I didn't watch the rest of that.
But I mean, I heard it was significant because Mango actually took out Leffen.
So in Melee.
Yeah. Oh yeah, in Melee. Yeah. Mango took out Leffen, if I'm not mistaken, and I saw that was kind of a big deal because a lot of people feel like Mango is kind of on the downswing right now. So I think a lot of people were like really happy. Well, obviously the Mango fan, because I saw a clip of him beating Leffen and the audience was going nuts. You know
yes, right, for sure. Leffen did say that he wasn't doing entirely as well as he could have been, and he was like, I had only practiced for a week.
And there was also a controller issue.
Yeah, he said there was a controller issue.
Which is why he spiked the controller at some point.
According to BG Callisto, he eliminated a GameCube controller in Losers. Okay, all right.
Well done, BG Callisto.
Okay, all right.
Well done.
Yeah, anyway, it was cool. I'm not familiar with Bananas, so I thought that was cool to see him playing Ice Climbers up there in 5th place, considering how high that is. And then you got Hungrybox taking it over Plup in Grand Finals.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in time, especially with Armada retiring, you know, from singles Melee.
Yeah.
I mean, has Hungrybox gotten into the discussion of greatest of all time at this point? Because he's been winning a lot. I feel like, I don't know, I don't follow the scene close enough, obviously, but I feel like when we check the results, he's in first place, maybe 50% of the time, you know?
It definitely feels like that.
Yeah.
Dude, I saw a picture of Armada, who was there, but he only played in doubles. I saw a picture of him after Hungrybox won, of him...
Who?
Of Armada.
Oh, okay,
in the back, after Hungrybox won, and Armada's just like
this.
He just couldn't take it.
Retirement.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
You gotta think.
So Hungrybox hasn't won a super big event yet this year. So, but that's crazy. Curly W also mentioned now they're talking about banning wobbling again.
Oh yeah.
I guess Bananas wobbled his way up there, and now everybody is like, yeah, I know, right? It's like, dude, people are not...
This actually wasn't the picture that I seen. I saw another picture of Armada also with his head in his hands at the loss, but there's a link in the chat by Tap2DG who shows that as well.
But I just so they aren't actually trying to ban wobbling? Okay.
Yeah,
That's good.
Anyway, man, look, the crowd after Hungrybox won was maybe dejected. Certainly not enthused, for sure. And obviously that's been happening for a long time, and I get that there are many reasons for that. Not just the character that he plays, but also him as a person. I understand.
Exactly.
It's still I still think I don't know that sad's the right word, because I'm not sure that I feel sad for him.
Right.
I'm not sure that that's the right phrasing of it, but could be better.
Yeah.
Could be better. I don't know. I want some better phrasing in there, but I'm a little bit. I wish there was more for him for that.
But it's just, I mean, I love watching Jigglypuff.
Me too. I personally enjoy it a lot. That's the character that I like to watch most in the game.
I was always rooting for Hungrybox. I didn't realize he was such a heel in the community, because he was considered one of the gods, so I thought he was just like everybody else, that you were always happy when you saw him win, and then, the more you learn about it, it's just all the Melee commentators refused to interview Hungrybox. Are you spreading bad rumors? Is that
real?
Curly W? Are you trying
to? I don't know.
Oh man,
Maxie.
Yeah. People are tired.
That was true. Okay, all right.
People are tired of Puff versus Fox. I mean, look, that's what happens when you have a game like that, right?
Yeah.
It's old and it's unbalanced.
Right.
And it's not getting patched.
And it's not going to get. Yeah, it's not going to change.
So hopefully, like I said, maybe some of these Melee players will give Smash Ultimate a chance, because if we could get. Because could you imagine if it was like, Zero's like, okay, I'm coming back, and then there's MK Leo, and then all of a sudden Leffen is in the mix, and Hungry Box is in the mix, and they're all playing one game now that's like good, like cool. Oh my god, like
it would be cool.
The Smash community would explode, in my opinion. I think that would be great for them. So,
but dude, I gotta tell you, if you're gonna complain about any character in that game, and it's not Fox, I don't know.
That's because he's fast and exciting.
So I put a tweet out that was basically like I was sad that Hungry Box got that reaction, and somebody responded to me saying like, look, he's playing a broken character in Melee. Again, I'm no expert in that game by any stretch, but if you're gonna complain about any character in that game as being broken, there's a clear choice.
The one frame invincible, jump cancelable.
It's a very clear choice.
Shine that hits everywhere. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Look, again, I'm not saying
I enjoy watching the game a lot.
I'm not saying that I feel like, Jigglypuff isn't good. I'm just saying if you're going to complain about a broken character, then that's Then
for sure.
The character you're going to be talking about, I feel like, is definitely Fox. So
Topanga League is happening. They are in the final stage, as we addressed last week. So they're, moving on through. And then they had some of the first games in this final stage. So right now, Fujimura is on top.
Really?
Right now, the standings are Fujimura first, Fudo second, then Sako, then Gachikun, then Gafro, then MOV. MOV actually 0-4. I gotta tell you, I really, really like watching MOV play Chun.
Oh, yeah.
I think that character is as dry as can be, but when he plays her, he's just moving so fast. He's always doing something. His combo conversions are cool. His setups are cool. His movement is very unique. I really like it. It's very cool.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've always said that whenever you are good at your character, you're the best at the character when you make them move faster than everybody else does.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When it looks like their dashes are have less frames and their buttons have less frames and stuff like that. So it's always really cool. But
yeah, he is 0-4.
Dude, Fasako, some of the stuff that he was doing, like during the Gachikun match, some of the orb stuff that he did, it's getting to the point where it's almost silly at this point in time, and it's really exciting. But I think it was Hi-Fi who tweeted out a clip of Sako streaming, and he was just trying to do Manat's trials, and he couldn't do Manat's number 5 trial, the hardest trial, because his muscle memory was so much intact to harder combos that he couldn't do what was considered simple. In fact, he finally did it by doing this super long extension in the middle that he didn't need to do, and then finally did the stuff at the end. Yeah, dude, it was actually kind of funny.
Wow, okay.
It was actually kind of funny. So.
Anyway, that's occurring, and they're streaming it on OpenRec. So the way that basically I've seen any of it is by Hi-Fi doing little clips of it. I don't know. Yeah, you can watch it if you want on OpenRec. Okay. I think that's about it in terms of events that I had.
Unless anybody else has any suggestions, other events that we should talk about. If not, then we're going to be jumping over to the 5-5 matchup.
What do you got?
So there's a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. Let's see, which one do I want to go for first here? Let's see. So you were talking about MOV, right? So let's just talk about this.
The Master of Vampire.
So the costume that he was playing with Chun-Li.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find Hi-Fight's clip of it, because it's like that costume was...
Oh, dang, the Injustice 2 Intercontinental Championship. You're right. My bad. That was won by Tekken Master. He, in fact, so the way it worked is there were 2 representatives from the Middle East, 2 representatives from Eastern Europe, 2 from Western Europe, and 2 from Australia. And the 2 Middle Easterners were first and second. It was Tekken Master and Shark Teeth, number 1 and number 2. So only one person qualifies for the IPS finals from that Intercontinental, and that is Tekken Master, so he has made it into the Injustice
Nice.
finals.
Okay. Good job to him.
Very cool.
Let's see. This is one of the clips. Let me see if I can find another one.
But it was cool to see because there was good Joker play, there was good Enchantress play. Those are two really rare characters. So if you're at all interested in the Joker or in Enchantress, you check out the footage. It was really good.
Okay, cool. So here, let's do this. Let's see if this...
Yeah, man, the Middle East has good NRS players. For sure. Well, they just have good players in general. But as James was previously talking about, some regions don't have many chances to show that they have that. And that's definitely an instance where they often don't. So I'm glad that they did do the Intercontinental. Basically, the reason that they did it was that the Middle Eastern players actually went to Turkey. They flew to Turkey to play in the online competition.
That's
in
right.
the European online competition.
That's right.
So that's how dedicated they were. And, no confirmation that this is why they then did the Intercontinental, but I feel like that had to play like a big role, like convincing them, like, we should really do something for these guys. So that's, I'm really happy to see that. That was great.
Yeah, but I mean, so going back and talking about like costumes now. Now, keep in mind, I've been an opponent to the Tekken customizations. I've talked about this in the past. I was not a fan of Tekken customizations because it made the characters distracting or you just couldn't recognize them. And sure enough, in the Tekken World Tour, they force you to play tournament mode. And so the characters can't have any customizations. And so the characters always look the same. And I think that helps a lot. Honestly, I think that helps a lot because, sure, it's funny to see Akuma in the bathtub with the shower.
It is funny.
But it loses a little bit, I think, of the. It almost kind of makes it look a little sillier.
Yeah, that's
great.
What
I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not a fan of it.
Okay. Oh, that's a negative for you.
Yeah, it's a negative for me. Not a fan of it.
Got it.
Not a fan of it. And
Wasminator's in the chat. What up, man? Good job this weekend.
Nice.
That was cool. You played great.
But it's gotten to a point right now where I feel like some of the Street Fighter costumes are
it's gotta be tomorrow for you.
Anyway. The exact same point right now. Because like there was this high fight clip here, and like Chun-Li, there's just shit flying everywhere constantly. Like, what is even happening? Like, I can't even tell like where she's punching sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like that there's way too much dressy, flowy things going on everywhere for Chun-Li.
I mean, I see them with my eyes, but I wouldn't think twice about it, to be honest.
Interesting. I don't know. Like, I just feel like it's a little too distracting. And the only reason why it's not distracting that much is because we know what her moves look like. Right, but if you're new to the scene, I feel like it would be a little bit distracting.
Okay, yeah, if you're new, I can understand that. Sure.
Right, if you're new to the scene, it would be a little bit tougher to see, right? So, in my opinion, I feel like maybe some of the costumes are going a little too far, and especially now that you have like Ed looks like Dimitri, and Manat looks like Felicia, and it's just like who these characters are and everything like that. I'm not sure I'm a fan of that. Actually, I actually don't like how crazy the costumes are getting, and I almost feel like we should start limiting the costumes just a little bit more.
Okay.
And I know, like...
You mean in tournament play?
Yeah, in tournament play. Like, I know, young John Takeuchi was using the Airman costume, and why I think that's awesome because I love Airman and stuff like that. I just feel like it's confusing to viewers a little bit. Like, what? I've never seen this character before. Who is this? I
mean, it says Rashid up on the top still, right?
At least it does that, because in Tekken it doesn't do that.
In Injustice, it will say Power Girl if you're playing Power Girl instead of Supergirl.
Yeah.
So it'll actually change the character's name.
Because, like, I still remember the one time I was trying to learn Tekken Tag 2, and the characters I wanted to learn were JC and what was the other character I wanted to learn? I can't remember, but like someone in Japan who was really good at those characters played both of them, and I was like, perfect. But he dressed them exactly the same, so they looked like the exact same character, and it was really annoying.
Genius.
It was really annoying. So, but I mean, I know that this is Capcom's kind of like cash cow now.
This is how they're making money.
They're making money, so they're going to want all these costumes on stream because they want people to be like, oh, I need to buy these costumes.
It's advertising.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what to do about it, but like I was just sitting there watching that clip, and I feel like MOV might have been like he might just play that costume because it might be the most distracting one. So
I don't think that's working on. Who was he playing against? Fudo?
Fudo, yeah.
I don't think that's working on Fudo.
Maybe.
I really don't.
But I mean, also.
But I think you're right. If somebody's new and watching, it may be confusing.
But then also for me, I'm also the person that doesn't necessarily look at moves. Remember, I could barely tell the difference between Birdie's EX headbutt, bullhead, and bullhorn. Right, because to me they look the same.
Well, I don't remember which one is which name, but I know the difference between the moves.
Yeah. One of them comes down this way, the other one comes up this way.
Yes.
But for some reason in my brain, I couldn't distinguish that for the longest of time until I had to actively.
You got zonk and you got headbutt.
Right, which is why my problem with Tekken right now is a lot of the times I just can't recognize moves. And I just think maybe it's for certain people who just don't see moves in certain ways. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I like the Blanca costume. I mean, there's that troll Blanca costume, but I think that's his main costume.
I'm surprised when I see somebody playing Blanca and it's not that costume.
Yeah.
I was watching a video of Nishkin playing Blanca and he was playing regular Blanca, and I thought that looked weirder.
Yeah.
It does look weirder.
Yeah. I think
Blanca Chan actually looks better.
I think is the regular costume, so you know.
Yeah. For me, it's fine. I'm not bothered by most costumes. Even remember that Blanca costume in SF4 with the giant whatever on his back?
Yeah.
That never bugged me.
The summon. Oh, really?
No.
I hated that thing.
Because after having played against Blanca, look, again, if you're new, I understand. But having played against Blanca for years at that point before that costume came out, I basically knew what all of his hitboxes and hurtboxes were. So I'm not, as I'm walking around and he's walking around, I know he's not up here. I know where he is.
I guess.
So I'm not. So it doesn't bother me in that respect. But that's how I think I deal with fighting games in general.
But I mean, even Mika's pom poms don't bother you.
Doesn't bother me.
Okay.
I know where her hands are.
Chocolina Mika, the crazy red crazy bird thing.
Is that the crossover game one?
I don't know. I just call it the Chocolina because it looks like Chocolina
either.
from Final Fantasy X2.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, 13 too.
I don't know, but anyway, no. The pom poms don't matter to me. The reason is that when you see her hands there, that's not what matters anyway. Her drawn hands don't have any impact on the gameplay anyway. And it happens so often in fighting games that a move is animated to look one way, and its hitbox is not there, and its hurtbox is not there. That always happens. So instead, you just get to learn over time where the hitboxes and hurtboxes are. So when I see her do this with Stand Strong, I know that it's not going to be here if there's an extra pom-pom. This doesn't matter, because it's not here anyway.
Right.
It's just a box. You know what I mean? So anyway, for me, the costumes are no big deal. It doesn't bother me.
Interesting. Okay. Because I kind of remember there was some other situation. I remember some people didn't like certain costumes because it made it look like their hit range was larger or something like that. So someone said in the chat that Axe plays Pikachu with a hat because it makes his headbutt look bigger or something like that. So, but because I mean, for the people who are sure when they're used to it, but there's also that kind of visceral reaction when you see things just kind of miss, you know what I mean? So maybe if it's more egregious than pom-poms, which is why that Chun-Li costume seems so weird to me, because there's just limbs, I just felt like things are going on.
I feel like all those clips, all those movements that she did in that clip look normal to me. I see that she has the things waving around, but I have to concentrate more to notice them than the other way around.
Okay.
It's like how I played Thunderstruck for 6 years before somebody pointed out to me that there's a table in Chun-Li's stage. I didn't know that.
MK costumes. MKX costumes had different hitboxes?
Yes.
Oh, jeez. But that was obviously a mistake.
Even in Injustice 2, the premium characters, some of them have actually some slight differences.
Oh, really?
Like Bizarro actually has a little bit different than Superman. So yeah,
interesting.
Whatever.
Okay.
Anyway, for me, it's fine, but I get why it's bothersome for new players. If you played the game a lot, I don't know. Come on. You should get used to it.
Yeah, I think it's probably just because I react a lot on just the visual cues for things like that.
The whole game is about visual cues, but you know what a visual cue represents.
No, it's not the closed physics that bother me. It's the fact that Chun-Li's, that outfit just has strips of clothes that are falling in every direction. So at times Chun-Li looks larger than she is.
But she's not.
Right, but like I said, I have that quick reaction to it. You know what I mean? When I say,
I'm
I don't
not
know.
sure
That, maybe that's just me.
with it.
Maybe that's just me. So I don't care about closed clippings and stuff like that. You know, or closed physics and stuff like that. That's a whole nother story.
The chain is going through them. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. But I do like the fact that Tekken, for example, is in the Tekken World Tour that they're using tournament mode, so they can't have the customizations. I like that kind of thing. And I feel like for the Street Fighter characters, it's getting a little bit weird because now they're verging into the point of like Felicia doesn't look anything like Minot, and somebody be like, "What the hell who's this character?" You know, kind of thing, and you know. I think that kind of bothers me. Oh, dude, you still have Zoidberg. He's always coming in here to give us the...
That's a 1K. Woo! Dang, look at all those bits.
There you go. Shout outs to you still have Zoidberg. Oh, that's right. When he does it, we have to go...
Damn, you did a good job. That was great. Did you hear this?
Yeah. It's not 1,000. It's 10. But that's still great. Thank you.
Oh, $1,000 and it's 1,000 bits, though.
I mean, I do need to visit an optometrist, but that's a whole nother story. I just don't have... Oh, I forgot to make that call. I just don't have a vision plan right now, so I can't visit an optometrist.
Bummer.
So I need to do that, so...
Bummer.
Okay.
Yeah, anyway, there you go about costumes. I mean, maybe they should just not design future costumes distractingly.
Yeah.
Because you can make costumes that are funky and weird. Like, I was playing against some Chun-Li the other day on SF5 who used a costume I've never seen. She has these big hats on her knees. Have you seen that one? It's exactly like how I describe it. She's wearing top hats on her knees.
Are you playing the PC with special mods?
I'm telling you, it was definitely exactly like that.
Oh, it was the June costume.
I'd never seen it before.
Okay.
And then when the two characters are like meeting, when it's first showing you who you're going to fight against before the actual gameplay begins, this big knee is like right in your face.
Are you talking about this one here?
No, I don't think so.
It wasn't the June costume?
Oh yeah, I guess it was. Yeah, that one shows the legs.
Okay, yeah.
She's got top hats on her knees.
Yeah, but that's how she looked in Star Gladiator too. Come on. You never played Star Gladiator? Come on, man! No, I'm just kidding. Oh, man.
Anyway, I think that one's weird.
Yeah.
But I am getting the Zangief, Mecha Zangief thing. I've never actually played the extra battle before, but I've been doing it for Mecha Zangief.
Oh, you're trying to get that one? Okay.
Who I will then never use.
I haven't been going for any of those because I just know I'm not going to get any of them.
They're super easy.
Oh, are they?
Well, at least the first half of the Geef one, the first 2 extra battles, are like brain dead simple.
Oh, okay.
So it's like one round versus like an easy CPU.
because I've heard stories of people having trouble getting the last piece of costume.
Oh, yeah?
So,
okay. They actually ramp it up maybe?
But maybe not. Maybe not. A lot of people are saying it's super easy. So.
Super easy for the first 2 at least.
I'm just waiting till they all come out for sale. And then I'm just going to go up to Capcom and be like, hey.
Why don't you just use those esports connections, man?
Well, because there's probably no codes for them right now. That's what I mean.
Probably
when
not.
They come out on sale, then maybe I can use my esports connection.
Boy. All right. Anything else to say about this costumes business?
Nope. We can move on to the next bit of the 5-5 matchup. So one of the things, we talked a little bit about this, about Super Arcade last week, how they were saying like people aren't showing up to their events and everything like that, and they do the match arenas, and we were talking about ideas that could work out. But the truth of the matter is, apparently people are not showing up to Street Fighter V at all, anywhere. So Wednesday Night Fights is only getting like 20-some entrants for it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so Wednesday Night Fights is only getting 20-some entrants. I know NLBC is getting less. And I think Hella Night Fights is the one getting the most, and that's because it's a new venue, and I think people are kind of excited about that.
Okay.
Right? So I guess there's 2 kind of things to talk about. One is that the Hella Night Fights is not getting very much viewership because they're on the same time as Level Up, which is
to be expected.
It's a weird problem. But what do you think is happening here with these Street Fighter V weeklies?
I think it's just oversaturation of events, that's all.
Think so?
Yeah, I don't think that's any reason to be concerned for the game.
Okay.
It's still getting more entrants than other games in most situations when it comes to big tournaments. It's still the biggest FGC game overall in terms of players, so I wouldn't be concerned. I just think that, especially in Southern California, there's something to do every night, literally. In some cases, multiple things to do on each night.
Right.
So, it's not reasonable to expect somebody to go to 2 things, let alone 3 things per week. Most people have time for 1. You pick which one you go to.
Right.
And then you don't go to the rest. So if there's one that's like where you live, say you want to go to, you like live in Long Beach and you want to go to someplace. Would you go to the one that's in Long Beach, or would you go to Wednesday Night Fights, which is a schlep?
Right.
I mean, you know, I think that makes sense. So for me, it's not that big of a deal.
Okay. Some people are saying that it's getting cold. Also, there's over 20 at NLBC every week. Okay.
But NLBC has never been that much bigger than that.
Yeah.
Very rarely has it been much bigger than that. Whereas in the past, Wednesday Night Fights has, at the most, had 100 people.
Yeah,
Which is rare, though.
And you know, Mr. G in the chat also brings up a good point too. Is it could just be burnout, because it's been 3 years now for this game, and I think a lot of people. I mean, honestly, it just might be that they just maybe just don't feel like there's as much to practice in the game. I'm
telling you, man. I think that it's not that. I think if you look at the total number of players who are playing in a weekly in Southern California, I feel like it's quite high. Like, it's still big. It's just that there's so many events, and it's all spread around.
Yeah, I know Wednesday Night Fight starts at 10, which is kind of a tough thing. But actually, when it started earlier, they would get less people because people couldn't make it there.
Yeah, but maybe
by start time.
Maybe it'd be better for them to do earlier now, if it is the case that people are going to their local events. Because keep in mind, when we say Southern California and talking about locals, it is not. It's such a big area that for us, to go to Wednesday Night Fights is not a local, really.
Right.
It's an hour and a half drive. So if you have something that's 20 minutes away, maybe you go to that, and maybe the only people left going to Wednesday Night Fights are people who are also within half an hour of that area, which means that maybe you don't need to start it at 10 p.m. anymore.
Yeah, there's like the BCF, and there's a whole bunch of them. I can't even keep track. Yeah, Dropkick. Yeah, there's so many of them. So no, yeah, honestly, it's an hour and a half to get to for us to get to. See, that's the thing. When I go to Wednesday Night Fights, if I wanted to get there in time to enter, I really literally leave at like 8:30 at night. Because,
to get there by 10.
Yeah, to get there by 10. Because if I left any earlier than that, it would take me 2 hours to get there. And I just don't want to deal with that, you know. Even going to Super Arcade, when we used to go to Super Arcade, that took us an hour and a half to get there all the time, right?
Yeah, sometimes longer than that.
Yeah, it's not even just that California is that big of a state. It is a big state, but also traffic just sucks in Los Angeles because there's no public transportation.
For sure,
right?
For sure.
But I mean, there were stories of, you know, freaking, I always talk about Paradigm, who would drive 2 hours both ways just to get to Wednesday Night Fights at Super Arcade.
Sure.
The run back to practice Marvel. And he had no traffic.
Right.
He was doing it 2 hours both ways. So,
I mean, San Diego would come to Wednesday Night Fights sometimes in the run back, which is a couple hour drive, few hour drive.
Yeah.
So, look, the point is not to complain about locals. We're obviously happy that there are so many locals in Southern California. It's just that if there's a local... So when Wednesday Night Fights was the only game in town, which it was for a few years, we basically all went to Wednesday Night Fights.
Right, yeah.
But now that there are other things, the reasoning to spend an hour and a half in your car and like $30 in gas money versus to stay local, it doesn't make that much sense, I feel.
Right.
So I totally get why there would be fewer people going to Wednesday Night Fights. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. I just know the numbers have been a little bit lower. I was surprised to find out they were only like 20 to 30 players a week now at Wednesday Night Fights. Because at one point in time, they were getting like 100 players, you know, every single week. So, but yeah, there's not much public transportation. They're building it. They're building it up a little bit, but it's not like great, you know.
It'll be a long time, buddy.
Yeah, it'll be a long time.
Actually, we may be able to take the metro out there. You may be actually able to do that. I should look that up. Because we happen to both live near a couple of stations, which is not that common. But even if we were to do that, I feel like you're still looking at a couple-hour trip.
Yeah, for sure. And then by the time it ends at 3 a.m., you want to get home as damn fast as possible, so you want your car in that situation.
And definitely there's no public transport at 3 in the morning.
Yeah,
exactly.
No, that's a good point. So, yeah, it's a tough situation, but yeah, and obviously people are in the chat are talking about viewership of Wednesday Night Fights and NLBC. The time difference makes a big difference.
For sure.
Even our show right now is getting way more viewers because we're earlier in the day than we were before. So time makes a big difference.
Time does matter. Absolutely right.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm not that concerned.
Okay. And the nice thing about that, honestly, is it does give an opportunity for a lot of the other games to shine, too. Because Wednesday Night Fights, definitely, they'll run Eunice Top 8, they'll run Dragon Ball, they'll run Tekken and stuff like that. So I think that's cool. So, although I haven't seen Tekken on there recently.
Dude, Homuffin, he calls it Thursday morning fights and says, sometimes I wake up and Wednesday Night Fights is still on. When I was recently in New York for about a week, one of the days I was there was Thursday, and I woke up at, I don't know, some kind of early-ish for me, 6 maybe in the morning, and yeah, it was happening. Wednesday Night Fights was on.
Still on.
It was on.
Right, because it's 2 a.m. over there. So
it's at 3 a.m., right? 3 a.m. at that time.
You're right, 3 a.m.
So it was a late one, but yeah. Whew.
That's crazy, dude. That's so nuts.
Not going to catch me there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big reason why I don't go to Wednesday Night Fights.
Rift's channel hosts Wednesday Night Fights Tekken. So they never actually do the top 4 on the main Wednesday Night Fights stream. It's always Rift's channel, huh? Okay.
Yeah. Well, anything else to say about this?
No, that's all I got there, so...
Well, I got another topic for you.
Okay.
Which maybe we were going to address in the news, but let's just talk about it now. Which is this potential reduction in input lag in Street Fighter V. They tweeted about it earlier today with very few specifics. And it's entirely unclear what the change is going to be.
Yeah, they said that they're aware of the problem.
Yeah, right. Hard to know what that is going to result in. Hopefully it results in an improvement, but will it mean that the average input lag will go down? Or will they stabilize the input lag? How much of a difference either way will that be? It's hard to know. It's really hard to know. Maybe they reduce the minimum lag, but there's still the maximum of whatever, right? 8 frames. That which would not be great. So there's a lot of stuff that's up in the air about it. What do you feel about that,
dude?
I think your initial reaction said everything.
I'm at this point right now where this problem has existed forever, and they're only going to fix it because it's going into the Japan arcade. And, there's been footage of the machines side by side connected through netcode, the 2 machines next to each other, and they were all choppy and disconnected and everything. I'm sure they'll look at that now, too.
LAN.
And it's just why does it have to take to get it, why wasn't this a priority all along?
That's a question.
All these things, why does it have to wait until it gets to Japan arcade to get this fixed? Look, I totally get it. They're a Japanese company. They want it to be successful in the Japanese arcade, but come on. People have been talking about this forever. And, for the longest of time, for Capcom, it was always it won't translate directly into sales and blah, blah, blah. But if the input lag sucks in the arcade as well, then people won't put it. So now it actually mattered to them. Could have fixed it a long time ago, and people would have been... And then you wouldn't have had all this negativity going up for the last 2 years dealing with all this stuff, and people would have been happy with the netcode and the input lag, and then you just release the arcade version like that. You didn't have to wait till now to fix it. You didn't have to wait. Oh, God.
Yeah.
It makes me so mad. It makes me so mad that it's like this. This could have been... Dude, there's streamers out there who are just I can't do this anymore. I can't play this anymore. The netcode is so bad.
It's not good.
Oh, God. Anyways.
It is not good.
What's your thoughts on it?
Well, any improvement would be nice.
Right.
But just the question of what the improvement's going to be, I think the more interesting question is what is the impact of any improvement? Say that there's just an improvement in some way, however it is going to be. What impact is that going to have on the players, and what impact is that going to have on the characters? Who gets nerfed?
Oh, yeah.
Who gets buffed?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, what's funny to me is that, shout outs to Kimmy, Gibbler, BTK, another reference to Full House today.
I know that one.
Okay.
Woo! Okay. I get that one.
Yeah.
That was loud.
But, yeah, that was loud.
my bad in advance.
But, what's interesting to me, and I really want to talk about this on an Uncensored, actually.
Okay.
Everybody's always like, we got to make moves so that they're totally whiff punishable and stuff like that, right? And honestly, if you made whiff punish the fighting game, it would suck.
Yes.
I actually think the game would suck tremendously. So everyone thinking that, now I can whiff punish everything, I think the game is actually going to suck if everything is completely whiff punishable. It's not going to be like that, but still.
No, you're right, though, yeah.
I'm just saying that everyone has this weird, utopian idea that, oh, you this paragon of fighting games, everything's whiff punishable. If everything's whiff punishable, trust me, the game will suck. The game will suck really, really bad.
And no game has ever been like that. Yeah, there's this like fetishization of SF4 as being some game where everybody whiff punished and could whiff punish. And it just wasn't like that. I played the game, didn't you? Like people who say that, I don't understand what they're talking about.
Right.
For example, like I was talking about how I thought Dan was better than people gave him credit for, and Filipino man chimed in and he was like, "Yeah, but you could whiff punish those buttons." And I was like, "Nobody did that. What do you mean?" I played against Filipino man, and I never remember him. I mean, sure, you get whiff punished in the sense that the opponent sticks out a button at the right moment because they expected that you were going to press the button. That happens, of course, but it's not like Dan or anybody is sticking out these buttons out there,
and on reaction,
you, not even expecting it, reacts to it. It's never been like that.
Yeah,
never been like that.
The alternate to whiff punishing, honestly, is what I like in ST. It's just buttons beat buttons. I don't know why the games don't do that anymore.
I think some games do that. I think that's basically how cross tag is, for example. Like you're not whiff punishing in that game.
I mean,
you're just doing stuff.
That's why I have so much trouble playing footsies in these modern whiff punishing days, is because when I go play ST, it really wasn't about whiff punishing things. You just found a button that beat the other guy's button, and they had to find a button that beat your button. It was really weird. I used to think, for example, Ken versus Zangief was terrible for Ken, right? Yeah. And I played against Eugene and Tanya recently, and I was using Zangief against his Ken, and he was using low strong. He would punch my standing medium kick, and I was like,
Sam gets on.
Oh shoot! I didn't realize that this button beat my standing medium kick. And so now I have to walk in and sweep him when he does low strong.
Yeah.
And I just think it promotes a different kind of footsies.
You can fierce him as well, if I recall correctly.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay.
And maybe it stands strong, actually.
It's that kind of stuff like that. And it's not priority system that I want.
No,
so.
yeah. But look, even in ST, as Geef, if you're trying to get it on somebody, you try to think, when is Cammy going to press crouching medium kick? And then you preemptively, but you do, punish the button with sweep, right?
But punishing by trading.
Well, but
Zangief can very rarely whiff punish.
What I mean is that you're not reacting to her doing down medium kick. You're like, this is the time you're going to use, so I'm going to use the timing that will get me a knockdown, right? So that is also in ST. Right. It's just that there's a little bit more reactivity now. It's a little bit more. I think the mix of it is fine. Personally, I feel like SF5 does a fine job at that. About the complaints I have with this game, that is not one of them.
Yeah, and honestly, Tekken is a lot about whiff punishing as well, but Tekken is more about anticipation, right? That's why at the highest levels you get the movement porn, as they call it, where someone's just wave dashing in front of the other guy's face and no one's touching any buttons, because it's really about anticipation, getting them to whiff buttons, and then you're making them whiff buttons.
Okay.
You know what I mean? If you're a Tekken player and you're hitting buttons, and plus there's also strings on whiff as well that can cause a lot of problems. So if you're trying to whiff, for example, this doesn't work in greens and yellow ranks when I play King, right? But back 2 into 4, where he does this and then to a little kick, right?
Okay.
Doesn't work in those ranks very well. But at high ranks, it was working, because against the people who were trying to whiff punish me every single time I would do this, they would see me whiff, they'd hit a button, and they'd get caught by the kick. It was like a bait, right? There's things that you can do about that. So it's not just whiff punish the game.
For sure.
In Tekken as well.
Justice is the same way.
Exactly. Shoutouts to all the subscribers here.
Subscriptions.
Schifferbrains and Infragrim.
Schifferbrains, nice work. Nice one.
Oh, yes, okay.
Anyway, so when it comes to any potential improvement in input lag for SF5, I don't feel it's going to turn into everything gets whiff punished, even if it's like a substantial improvement.
Right.
Because the game's just not like that. Many of the buttons, are not going to get whiff punished anyway. Like, they're just not built like that.
Cammy standing medium kick is still not going to get
It's just not going to be. Yeah. It has to be a wish punish, as people like to say.
Right.
So that I don't think is going to change that much. But I do think that there are going to be some things on the margin that will change. You'll be able to walk up and block a sonic boom a little bit more easily. You'll be able to see somebody jumping in the air and anti-air with a good button a little bit more easily. Like, these are not like by a lot, but like a little bit.
Right.
Or if
you can actually block after Urian does EX Chariot Tackle and block it in
exactly.
time.
EX Chariot Tackle is a good example of that. Maybe like an EX Dive Kick, right? It's not going to quite catch you as much unaware. So there are some things that are going to be like a little bit harder or easier at the absolute margins. Some people are talking about characters being substantially nerfed or buffed. I don't expect like major changes. It's going to be a little bit harder for Ken to use V-Skill to run in on you, right? A little bit.
Right.
But again, even now, you're not supposed to use that move willy-nilly. It's you make the opponent afraid, and then here comes V-Skill.
Right.
So that's going to work a little bit less often, but not a lot. Not a lot, I don't think. Even if it's a substantial change, like say that it changes so that it's always 4 frames of input lag, which is good. That is a good number.
That's a great number.
If it's always that, still, that's not a huge difference. It's like an average of 2 frames per second. Or,
2 to 3.
Yeah, 2 to 3. Not a huge change. So we're talking very marginal stuff. But yeah, it'll have a little bit of an impact. And if somebody's playstyle as a player is to be a little bit more like offensive or risky, then they'll do a little bit worse. I don't think it's going to be huge.
So keep in mind, I'm not saying that everyone's going to react to Chariot Tackle because it is a 7-frame startup. I'm just saying that if you're holding forward when they start it, you just can't block it. So if you walk forward and try to block, like literally if they do it and then you hit back, you're not blocking it. I'm just saying that there is actually an actual existence in which you can see it start and block it, which is crazy. So, But
I'm not. So, for example, I'm not. I feel like if anything, Guile's going to be a little bit worse. Not a lot, but a little bit, because booms are going to be a little bit more blockable. You're going to be able to block a little bit more often when he does Sobat or Knee up on you.
Do you think Zangief might be a little bit better because he's going to be able to walk up an SPD a little bit faster, right?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, as a character that is mostly about reacting, which is Geef mostly is. He'll be a little bit better because he can walk up and block a little bit better. A little bit. Not a huge improvement. And even for Dolphin Dive, right? Dolphin Dive is already like 30 frames startup. It's like a lot. So if you're really keeping your eye on the game, you're already rarely getting hit by that move. It only works when you've really, really gotten somebody to not pay attention.
Right.
Like if you've really gotten into their head.
I mean, dude, it's how I use Hooligan in ST.
Exactly right.
You can't. That move has crazy startup, but it's so fast and catches people off guard because you just use it rarely.
It's rare. If you use it too much, it doesn't have an impact anymore.
Exactly.
So I don't think that Dolphin Dive is going to have a big change to it because you're already trying to use it in those situations where it's probably still going to work.
Exactly.
I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think that the biggest deal in terms of the improvement is more in the morale of players who don't feel like they are getting screwed out of situations.
Yes.
Like people I've heard people talk about the Urian EX tackle move, like that it's actually unblockable at some stage, in the sense that even if you had a computer and on the reaction to the EX starting up, then the computer press block, it still can't do it, right? So that just makes you feel bad as a player. So if that is no longer the case, then you feel like you have more control.
Then the excuse is gone, right?
Yeah,
so
you do have a little bit more control, but it's so little. It's so little. I really think that the biggest impact is more just on people and how they feel about the game.
Right. It's the ST joke that me and Derek Daniels always have, where we play on an actual arcade machine, and whenever something weird happens, we're like, man, shit would never happen in the arcade. Because that's how everybody reacted when you played ST on the Dreamcast or when you played it on all the other versions. When something weird would happen and you lost for it, you would blame that, of course, right? And so, that wouldn't have happened in the arcade. And so when weird... Dude, it just makes you feel better about it. It just makes you feel better about it. So.
I mean, look, even though I think that the biggest impact is more on just player morale, I do think it's important.
Yeah. And I really, really hope they fix that netcode as well, too.
That, to me, is a bigger deal. I agree with you.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, it's like... you're just making people miserable when they play online. You know what I mean? Like, that... For a game that you created that had no arcade mode originally, that still doesn't have a lot of one-player content, that you're basically telling people you just got to play this online constantly, and you're not fixing the netcode, just seems like such a weird decision to me, dude. Yeah, the Marvel netcode was great, right? The Marvel netcode was pretty good. The Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite was better.
Yeah, it felt better.
Yeah, but they got to do something with that, man. They got to do something with that. Fix the desyncs. You know what I mean? Fix the desyncs and stuff.
Yeah, there are some times when I feel that the opponent's reacting to everything and I can't see anything. But then there are also times when I feel like the opponent doesn't know what's going on. Like there are definitely games that I play where I think, okay, I'm the one getting the better of the situation right now. You can't see anything. You can tell by their play. They're just like doing weird
because they're just
things,
like throwing shit out. Like, oh, I don't even know what to do anymore.
It's not good. What I most want for SF5 in terms of the input lag is just to get rid of the variability. That's to me the worst part of it. If they also make it so that the input lag is a couple frames faster, fantastic.
Right.
Unbelievably fantastic. And that I don't believe it's going to happen.
But
a little improvement will be nice.
Because Street Fighter 4 was even 5.5 or something like that.
I think it was like 4 in one of the versions and 5 in another one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think like the arcade and PS and Xbox had like slightly different numbers.
But I mean, the thing about it is people playing on wireless connections is bad, obviously. But then you have games like Killer Instinct and Skullgirls, which seem to run fine even with people on wireless. You know what I mean?
I mean, they just have much better netcode. But even in those cases, Wi-Fi is worse, of course.
Yeah, of course. It's just not.
No, it's not teleporting.
So.
Yeah, Injustice is great. Injustice
Injustice
is a good one.
Good. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, there you go. I do think that Karen is slightly buffed. Again, super slight, but a little bit because she's mostly a reactions footsteps character, which is going to be more viable as a play style. Maybe you talk about like Geef, maybe a little bit of a buff. Maybe Ken is a little worse because Run's a little worse. Like it's very minor, very minor.
Whose netcode, Boats and Joes? Their netcode handles packet loss well, unlike Tekken, Soul Calibur, and Street Fighter V. I guess he's talking about KI, I think. Yeah, I didn't see. Okay. Skullgirls and KI. Yeah, for sure. It's just because they implemented GGPO-like code better.
Yeah.
Obviously, Skullgirls use GGPO directly. KI just did a good job mimicking GGPO. So
yep.
There you go. Do you think Sim is better or worse? I think he might be
a little bit better.
Oh, you think so? A little bit? Oh, because he can anti-air a little bit
more
better.
Consistently.
Because I was thinking that you might even be able to whiff punish his limbs a little bit easier now.
Oh,
too.
well, sure, a little bit easier.
But, I mean, standing heavy punch
Unlikely.
Just has such lag anyway.
Yeah, you're
Most
not using
people
that
are
many.
whiffing punishing it anyway. So
It's not that great. So.
Chun-Li is single-handedly paying for SFI's budget to improve.
I don't even think that's a joke,
I don't think that's a joke, but I don't think that's all true because I also think it has to do with Monster Hunter as well. Monster Hunter is I'm sure it's helping a lot. So because I mean, someone always pointed out they're like, hey, look at season 3, Sakura, Blanca, Falk, Monster Hunter, G and Sagat.
Wait, what?
Like Monster Hunter came out, they all of a sudden had all this money, and G and Sagat all of a sudden they look that much better.
Wow.
Right? So
maybe.
And they came out at the same time. Like they just were like, "Hey, we have budget to like do this." Who knows? You
never know.
Yeah, and RE2. And look, I'm enjoying Mega Man 11 a lot.
Oh yeah,
I think they did a great job with that game. So
I got the demo and I really like it.
Oh yeah,
I just wanted to try it out first. But yeah, I really like the demo.
Cool. Yeah. So good stuff.
I'll probably buy the whole thing. All right.
Man, I can't believe they didn't make Fang a Shenko costume. Come on.
That makes all the sense.
Dude, it's too perfect, right? So, man.
They'll never make him another costume again.
I know. It's so sad.
All right, enough about this topic here.
Okay.
You got other FGC news? Or what?
Yeah, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, let's get through all the FGC news.
Alrighty.
All right, be right back, guys. Reveals at SCA at SEAM? That would be crazy if they did, if they had any more reveals. People have been talking... Well, hang on. Let's run...
Pew! I forgot.
Actually, NRG Punk would actually be kind of a cool idea. They would have a... That would actually be kind of cool. I think he would work well with that team.
Yeah.
But what were we talking about before we went on break? I was trying to say something. We're talking about... Shoot. Man.
I don't know.
My brain, dude. My brain just doesn't work anymore. Oh, we were talking about Fang and costumes and... shoot, what the hell?
I don't know.
Oh, SEAM reveals. That's right. That's
SEAM.
right. Yeah.
Southeast Asia Majors.
Yeah, that's coming up this weekend, so there's going to be a lot of good stuff happening over there, obviously. But, I mean, the funny thing is people were talking about potential reveals, and there's a lot of people saying that because G and Sagat came out so early, that obviously means they have some more characters that are coming out.
Hey, maybe. And if you look at the character select screen, there are still 2 pretty conspicuous open spots.
But that's what it was like in Season 1.
Was it? I don't remember.
Yeah, Season 1 had the 2 conspicuous spots because it's the same thing. There's 2 extra. Then Season 2 filled it up.
Oh, yeah.
And then Season 3 has the 2 conspicuous spots.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Unless they decide to... I mean, I just don't understand why you can't just pick the dolls just like for fun in training mode in an arcade, or just like have
Are they fleshed out, or
they're probably not super fleshed out, but like on the PC versions when they were made playable, they have moves and stuff like that. You know, just put them in as joke characters. If anybody really wants to play them, just more power to you. But just have them be for fun. So
that's cool, man. I'm down with that. Why not? Mm-hmm. What up, Metallicat? It's a cool name.
Yeah, Metallicat. Oh well. Oh yeah. Okay.
I have cats.
Yeah, so do I. Peter. Isn't that also the name of the guy that was in Deadpool who like dove out of the plane with them? Peter. Because Peter's the name of the old man cop in that you could fight against,
that's
right? So I felt like that was also his name in that the name of that one regular guy who joined X-Force in Deadpool too. But.
So my little nephew, who is 6, turning 7, is going to Halloween as Deadpool. And I asked him what he likes about Deadpool. Because for sure he has not seen the movies.
Right.
There's no way his mom will let him see those movies. Mm-hmm. He hasn't read comics. I just don't know like what the interest is in the character. I don't think he even knows that Deadpool says the F word. I think that's like not even in his knowledge. Yeah, so I don't know. I find it very confusing personally.
It's funny because I watched the Deadpool and Deadpool 2 movies on the plane, right? So I actually saw them on the plane recently, very recently.
Yeah.
And his personality and everything like that, he wasn't, I don't think he was ever quite like that in the comics. I really think a lot of it has to do with Deep Pity and the videos that he took at the cons where he was just dancing and doing all the goofy things. I really feel like, I even told him that too, like I feel like that he actually influenced a lot of how Deadpool is perceived now, you know, because he used to do a lot of dancing and stuff like that in his YouTube videos and everything. So,
yeah, you guys are probably right that he just thinks the outfit looks cool. He's a really big Spider-Man fan, and he plays Lego Marvel games and Lego DC games.
Okay.
But even in those games, like I played them with him for a little while. Deadpool's not like doing all the. He's not like cursing up a storm. He's not murdering people. Like it's, I don't know, very different character, but all right.
Yeah, Deadpool is definitely a very violent, profane character. Oh man. Okay. Well, are the ads done here?
The ads are done.
All right, let's come right back.
Oh, we got to talk about the infiltration thing.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Okay, we'll save that at the end. There's not much news, so we'll save that for the end. Cool. Okay, be right back.
I'll have you know that I'm great with kids. I have in the past been a counselor at a summer day camp.
Did you fart at them all the time?
Now define all the time.
Did you ever fart at them ever?
Oh, wow, I mean, it probably happened.
Well, but I mean, like, you know, you're about to fart, and so you just turn around and just be like...
You didn't want to waste it? Yeah, for sure.
Aim it at the kids, you know?
I don't like to waste things.
Okay, fair enough, okay.
But I did.
Well, now that you know...
And I was good at it.
So now that you are wedded...
Yes.
The question always comes afterwards is, when's kids, right?
Oh, you mean... So, yeah, my parents have 2 grandkids. And also my brother and his wife have 2 dogs. So they also have 2 granddoggers.
You have grandkids and 2 granddoggers?
Because they're both female dogs. Come on.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I like it.
All right. We move on.
All right. not much FGC news here to talk about. There's a new trailer for Dead or Alive 6, and Tina, Bass, and Mila are highlighted in there. Yugi Moto was revealed in a Jump Force trailer. You do have the dad jokes. There you go. Guys, so I know I bring this up all the time, but dude, this guy's Facebook is all about bad puns. That's just all it is. You think I'm the pun guy. He's the one who's letting it all out there. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, and I do have this about the Street Fighter V input lag. But here's an interesting thing, is that Fantasy Strike is actually going to try to implement hit sparks that tell you whether you're plus or minus on block.
Okay, cool. Oh, just in general gameplay.
Yeah, so basically there's going to be a giant blue hit spark if you're really plus on block.
Oh.
A smaller plus blue spark if you're just barely plus on block. They have a certain thing for neutral, and there's a small X if you're negative on block, and a giant X if you're really negative on block.
Wow.
Which to me is the proper categories, which is punishable, not punish. Punishable, your turn, neutral, my turn, I can combo. That's
a good one.
Those are the kind of the categories, and sounds like that's what he's going to try to do. Yeah. Now, I'm really curious to see how he's going to implement it, because that's really hard to do, by the way. Because if you can cancel a move, let's say a move is super negative, like a low roundhouse from Ryu, and he does low roundhouse, and then he cancels it into, say, fireball, which is like. How is that? You're going to see the big negative spark, but because you cancel it, you just can't. You would think
the spark is already shown up by that point, right?
Exactly.
That's a good question.
So I'm curious how it's going to work, but it may sound like it's too friendly, but I don't think it's a bad idea.
I like it. I think that's good.
And to be honest with you, I feel like Street Fighter V, if they had more time, that was kind of where they were trying to go, because they had some of the moves that had the different animations on block, like Ryu and Ken's low roundhouse, and their low fears had a different animation.
That's right, yeah.
I think they were kind of trying to go for that, but I do think they probably just ran out of time.
Do any of the new characters have that?
Not that I
really
think
don't know.
Of. Yeah. No, I don't think so. I think they just kind of gave up on it, to be honest with you.
That's right, though. That was cool.
Yeah. So I bet you they were trying to go for something like that, and then they just ran out of time, or they just couldn't figure out how to handle the cancel situations and stuff like that. So it's unfortunate.
Huh.
I mean, look, hey, say no to weaves. I'm all about bringing back close-up moves. I know a lot of people aren't about that. So yeah, I know a lot of people don't like that, but I think it's kind of important to bring those back. And I will have an episode potentially this week talking all about that.
Very nice.
There you go.
By the way, Fantasy Strike also put out a thing where they're trying to make it so that animations are relevant by character. So when you're throwing a normal sized character, your character has a certain animation. But then when you throw Rook, the big old heavy golem, they're giving your character a different animation to show that it's harder for them to throw Rook.
Is that part of the gameplay?
Yeah, like in the gameplay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like instead of just throwing them, it's like it's like a struggle. Instead, it's animated differently.
But there's no difference in the result then.
Oh, I don't think so.
Oh, okay,
It's just about
it's just
the
a
looks.
cool thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's pretty cool. I mean, look, as I said,
a lot of people said they wanted that for Manat when she grabbed you out of the air. You know how her legs shake? They said that she does. Yeah, when she slammed you to the ground, her legs are like twitching because she can barely do it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But people are saying she should have only did that for the heavy characters, which actually would have been cool.
Yeah. People always joke like, oh, how can they throw Abigail, right? Well, in Fantasy Strike, they're actually showing it. So, although there's many things I don't like about that game, there's some good stuff. That's a cool idea. I like this Hip Sparks idea.
Yeah, so it's kind of a neat feature there. So I'm just curious to see how it's going to play out and things like that. So, I mean, even something like Guilty Gear Dusts, right? In the old games, the Dust, like freaking, what's-his-face, Testament, leaned back and arms came out of the ground, right?
Okay.
And it's a freaking overhead.
Oh, right.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like, it's the dumbest thing ever, right? Like, it was just, like, stupid that, like, you just, like, again, it's that problem where you have to learn to recognize the move, right? But in Guilty Gear Xrd, everybody's dust has a big red spark. And so you don't have to react to the move. You're just reacting to that.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? And I don't feel like it hurts the game all that much because it just makes it so you can quote recognize the move like normal. You know, you just don't have to play 7,000 matches against him to learn to get used to it. And I think that's kind of neat.
That's fine with me.
I think that's kind of nice. So
yeah.
Okay.
All right.
A couple of other things. This 2018 Golden Joystick Awards. Street Fighter V is nominated for Esports Game of the Year.
Whoa.
It's not gonna win. It's not gonna win.
Didn't Dragon Ball FighterZ come out this year?
It did, but it's getting nominated for Best Visual Design.
Not for Best.
Probably because Street Fighter's been an esport the entire year, right? So.
Oh, of course. That would matter to them. For sure. But anyway, it's dumb.
I don't know who's in this category. Let me see. Because it's definitely not winning. It's definitely not winning for esports. Boy, you are not impressed by the Golden Joystick. Okay.
Is that really what it's called?
Yes, that's what it's. Anyways, just as a reminder for content creators out there, Born Free still making a lot of. You better not make a fart noise.
Not for Born Free. He's good.
So Born Free, doing a lot of stuff, still doing content, interviewing a lot of people. You know, he just did Sako recently, who was talking about how he would come up with combo ideas and wake up and do stuff. We talked about that last week. But Core Gaming also came out with a new video. I think we briefed on that a little bit last week, where he talks about the importance of community, etc., etc.
He does good work.
Yes, so both of those guys, definitely give them a follow, Born Free and Core Gaming, so definitely keep that in mind.
Born Free also streams nowadays, which is nice. He does good work. Again, his shtick has never been like, look, I'm a top player. It's been the opposite. So if that's something that, which I think is like an important thing to do.
Yeah.
Like he's just showing he's having a good time playing the game. He plays with other people. It's not about him being the best in the world. It's more like a hangout, which I think is good. I think it's good.
Yeah, he had who was it that he had teach him Street Fighter V recently?
Oh, I don't know.
He had someone basically teaching him Street Fighter V.
Good.
I may be helping him with some Super Turbo pretty soon.
Oh, cool, man.
I might actually have a stream where I try to teach him some Super Turbo. So I think that'll be fun.
Oh, apparently it was automatic.
That's right. It was Automatic who was teaching him. Yeah. So I might come on for a Super Turbo episode very soon. So keep an eye on his Twitter and my Twitter.
Very cool.
For that coming up. So
very cool.
Okay, that's all I have right now.
Okay.
I will plug myself real quick that this week I'm going to try to do an Unchenzor this week, and I have some other cool ideas that I'm going to try to do. I'm going to see if I can do. I might experiment with it tomorrow or something like that, where I'm just going to get like 4 subs and make them play like a 4-man bracket in Street Fighter V, and I'll commentate it and give advice and stuff like that. So
cool.
Hopefully I'll get that. So
makes sense.
Okay.
Okay, the infiltration stuff. So Panda Global has given a couple of minor updates on what's going on with the infiltration. As we addressed a couple of weeks ago, there are allegations that he's had very serious domestic abuse charges filed and actually prosecuted against him. And so you may think that should be very clear. It should be obvious if that's true or not, right? I just want people to know that that's not a fast process to figure things out. To translate something from one language into another is one thing, but to do it when it comes to the legal meaning is different. And it's rare to find somebody who is a good legal translator. That's not a common thing. There have been a couple situations where I've needed people to do that for me, and I just happen to have gone to law school with a good buddy of mine who speaks Korean. It's not, obviously that's not a common thing, but it happened to be. And even for him, there were things that he needed to know about the Korean legal system. He's American, he went to American law school. He didn't know about Korean law that he then had to research to even like know what the context was in the first place. So it's really rare to have somebody who knows enough about Korean law and speaks Korean and knows enough about American law and speaks English, and you meld them together. It's not common. Even when it is, it's not like somebody is working on this around the clock. It's a business, you're doing a job, and it's probably not the case that Panda Global is their only client. Right? So it just takes a while. It's not something that can happen instantly. I think that people should give them a while. Like, I'd be surprised if it was done in a month. It takes time, and that's how law is in general. Really,
don't believe Law and Order, where it's like this person's doing this. Arrest them. Here's the trial. Oh, it's done. Like,
impossible.
It's almost rarely
never
happens that
like
way. It really should just be like, we arrested the guy. Dung dung. 2 months later, we're beginning the trial.
Should. Is it not like that? I've never actually watched.
They make it seem like it happens like right away, or the trial happens and they like need one last bit of information, so they're running around. You know, it's never. Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, again, the allegations against him are pretty gnarly. So I appreciate that Panda Global is taking time to make sure that they understand the full situation, because even aside from the time that it takes to translate stuff, this is not something that you want to get wrong for I guess many reasons. One of them is legal, right? You don't want to open yourself up to apparently it turns out criminal prosecution potentially in Korea if you defame somebody,
right.
In the way that that country views defamation. But even on top of that, you don't want to open yourself up to a civil case in the U.S., which could be, say that you get it wrong. Like you say, okay, it turns out we believe this is true, we let him go. He then sues because actually it's not true, and now even in the U.S. maybe he can sue for defamation or wrongful termination or something like that. And you don't want to have to deal with any of that stuff. So it's something that you definitely want to get right legally. It's not something you can jump the gun on, in my view. So I think that they're doing a really good thing in taking time and understanding it as much as possible. If it turns out that that they're prolonging the process for whatever reason, if they don't want to give up infiltration, if it turns out that there's something crappy going on, that'd be really unfortunate. It's not something that I would support, of course. I just think that it's natural to expect that it would take a few weeks, maybe even a couple of weeks longer than that, before you really know what's going on. It's not an instant kind of thing.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people, are expecting like instant reactions and instant results and stuff, but we have to make sure we take our time. We have
Definitely
to make sure we get all this information correct, because the worst thing that can happen is proliferation of false information of either direction.
Yeah, that would be bad news.
Yeah.
And look, it's a good point. Season 3 Abigail says, why would they prolong it while not having him compete? Yeah, I don't think that they're prolonging it in any kind of negative way. I'd be really surprised.
Right. It's just that it's just taking this.
If that's true, then that would suck. I just don't think that's what's happening. I just think it's going to take a while. So don't expect there to be quick decisions. He apparently is signed up for Southeast Asia majors.
Oh, really?
But, he had signed up for things in advance.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So
yeah.
I don't know that means he's going to compete there. I don't know either way.
He probably
we will
signed
find
up
out.
a long time ago.
That's my guess. That's my guess.
Yeah.
And Dashno Chris says PG has made a substantial investment in infiltration. They want to be certain that they should divest themselves of him before doing so. Of course, right.
Exactly.
It's not just about that you're worried about criminal prosecution or whatever it is. You don't want to give up a big investment unnecessarily. Absolutely, that would be bad news. It may even be. I wouldn't be surprised to find out that some sponsors of the team are sponsoring them because they have infiltration, or they had Punk in previous times. Now they have infiltration, something like that. So I don't know. We'll see. But I also want to say I saw somebody on Twitter who was saying that, look, you can just let him go and sort of ignore whatever consequences come out of that from Korea. So like say that means that you are defaming him in Korea. So he then files, or there's, I guess, criminal charges against you in Korea, and then maybe you're found guilty in Korea. But what does that matter? Because you're in the United States. It still can matter a lot. I don't think that there's an extradition treaty between the U.S. and Korea, so it's not like somebody would be, at least as far as I know, wouldn't be extradited to Korea for that. But that means that you wouldn't be able to visit Korea or countries that do have an extradition treaty with Korea. Which is bad news just in general, but especially if you're working in esports, you can't just give up Korea. It's just something you have to be in. And if there's a money judgment against you, if there's damages, then U.S. courts actually will often enforce those judgments. So if a court in another country decides some case based on foreign law, and you're not there, say you're trying to escape from that, you're like, oh, I'm not going to be in Korea. It's not going to matter to me. The international scene doesn't like that. So instead, many countries will enforce the judgments made by other countries under their own law. It's not in every case, but in cases that are like sort of generally decided properly and so forth, there's like pretty general categories. Then yeah, usually. So it can be the case that a court in California can bust or can force PG to pay up. It's not, it's not like you can just ignore courts around the world. The world doesn't work like that anymore, and hasn't for a long time.
Okay. Oh man. But
anyway, we don't know any more actual information about the situation as far as I know.
Best thing to do is make sure we just take our time and make sure that we are certain of things. So yeah. Okay. Well, I don't really have anything else to talk about. We've got so one of the reasons why we've been starting a little bit earlier, and is because obviously Capcom Connect is starting at 8 o'clock, and we have been going through things a lot faster because we're not taking as much time on the tournament results and stuff like that.
Also, indeed.
Anything that you wanted to bring up? Anything that you want to talk about?
I've been playing Soul Calibur 2 Arcade. Just to refamiliarize myself with things a little bit.
Where are you playing this?
It may or may not be legal.
Of course, okay.
May or may not. I can't deny or confirm or anything like that.
I was like, are you busting out your Dreamcast or some crazy thing like that? Just say yes. That's what you're doing. That's just what you're doing.
It's unknown. Unknown.
Oh, man.
Anyway, I've been playing it, and yes, I know that there's online play, but I'm probably not going to be interested in that. I just wanted to get a better understanding of kind of the feel of it, what you're supposed to do in situations. Of course, the game's going to be different anyway. It's not Soul Calibur 2, but just to get a sort of general idea. And what I've noticed in particular as I've played against the computer is that I just keep walking forward and back, and I'm not doing enough side walking, which is a big part of the game. So
that's what I do in Tekken as well. That's the biggest movement problem I have in Tekken. So
so I've been trying to do that. Check it out.
That's cool.
I've been playing Hearthstone's one-player mode, because there's just like puzzles that they've managed to put in the game that I find are fun. I don't care about the game competitively, so I'm not playing against people anymore. But there's fun puzzles in the one-player mode.
Okay, interesting. So it's just like you have to figure out the way to beat the opponent with the cards that you have.
Or like even more weird things than that, like try to match the opponent's set of cards exactly, including their health tallies and whatever. So you're just trying to mess with your cards in such a way that it ends up like that. Yeah, that's kind of fun little games.
And I guess it just teaches you little things too, right?
Maybe? I don't really care about that. It's just a fun problem to solve.
Oh man. Yeah, I played some more Tekken last week, streamed some more Tekken, and all I did was end up playing a Shaheen player for like 20 to 30 games.
Cool.
And that was about it. And then I went to training mode, and then we just started doing training mode stuff because I was trying to test some punishes against Shaheen. And then someone's like, can you do Jack's like just frame thing where he does the boom into this, and then you can punch people off the floor?
I didn't know that was just frame.
Yeah, there's like a just frame little setup to get the punch off the ground that's inescapable, right? And I did that, pretty quickly. Like, people were like, oh, this is how you just frame. I was like, oh, okay, I get it. And I did it like almost right away. And everyone's like, that's actually pretty hard. We need to see you do the taunt jet upper now.
Okay.
Which is Brian's one frame. Dude. So I'm just sitting there trying to do that for like an hour, dude. And dude, so in case you guys don't know, like if you hit, what is just frame? Just frame is basically for Jack. As soon as you land the jackhammer, boom, there's one small window that if you input a command, it'll transition into something else.
It's just a precise window that you have to hit another button in. Very small window.
Exactly. So
just on the right frame.
Right. Now, Brian's thing is not really a just frame because basically he has an unblockable taunt that hits you with his knee.
Yeah.
And it makes you reel for a certain period of time. You can cancel that taunt anytime before or after it hits. So there's a crazy window in which you can do this special move, right?
Okay.
And so into jet upper, which is back forward 2. The command is back forward 2, right? The startup of that move is just right so that if you hit him with the taunt and then do the jet upper, if you hit him with the taunt and then you want to do jet upper, you only have a 3-frame window. But the 3-frame window is forward, neutral, back, and 2.
Okay.
So basically, you have to hit on the knee, on the first frame that it hits, you have to hit back, then
Right.
neutral, back, forward, neutral, back, and 2 in 3 frames.
So each one of those has to be exact. So it's three
Inputs.
one frame inputs.
Yeah. So literally, if you don't do forward back 2 in 3 frames perfectly, you will never get it to combo.
Dang, that's pretty nuts.
You never get it to combo. And it was crazy. I mean, like, seriously, I was doing it for an hour. And I was just like, I'm not going to waste your time sitting here doing this. And everyone's like, no, you got to keep trying. And I was like, man, I don't know about this. And someone linked me a video of Jimmy J. Tran, who's famous for landing this.
Yeah.
So there was a video where they had a 60-second timer, and he was going to do as many of these as he could.
Okay.
And like halfway through the video, he was like, yeah, I'm tired. So at the very end, after landing 3 in a row, he had 13 in 60 seconds. He did it 13 times in 60
so he's
seconds.
Legit.
Dude, it's like what? What? And so apparently Eris just recently did this. Apparently Suiken just recently was just sitting there trying to do it on their stream.
Could they do it?
And they eventually got it like after an hour or something like that. And then basically I watched Jimmy's video and I was just watching what he was doing. I was like, okay. And I went and I finally got it.
Nice.
And so basically I am the greatest Tekken player in the world.
It sounds like it, yeah.
I actually did it. It
nice,
was really,
dude.
really
That's
crazy.
awesome.
Oh, someone actually linked it there. Yeah. So I was actually really, really happy that I actually got that. But dude, it's so hard. It's so super hard to do.
Yeah,
it's
it sounds like it,
hard
man.
to do. But the fact that Jimmy can do it consistently like that is pretty crazy. So
pretty impressive.
yeah, that was on my jchensor channel. Shout outs to Boats and Joe, making sure that I can plug my own Twitch channel here.
Nice work.
Twitch.tv/jchensor. Yeah, after I did it, I was just like...
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
For like a minute, I was just like...
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it was so funny. Oh, man.
I found... maybe you already knew this. In BB Tag, when you do an active switch, it activates on negative edge.
Oh,
Did you know that?
okay.
I didn't know that until yesterday when I found that out.
Okay.
And once I found that out, that mechanic basically became twice as accessible to me. I've been trying to do it and not understanding why it wouldn't come out or why, like, it would seem that I could do it sometimes earlier, sometimes later. And I never really knew why.
It's because you were letting go at different timings. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Man, I haven't played BB Tag in so long.
Oh, yeah?
I need to get back into that because all I've been doing is playing Tekken.
I mean, you know, you can't blame you.
Yeah, I mean, last night, like I said, it was like 4 a.m. and I'm just sitting there like, should I go to sleep? I really want to test this thing in Tekken. So I tested something in Tekken for about an hour. I went to sleep at... No. Actually, I went to sleep... No, it was longer than an hour that I tested it for because I think I went to sleep at around like 6 or 6:30 last night. Sun was definitely coming up. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, this morning.
Not the right word.
Yeah, this morning. So, who do I want as a DLC guest caliber for a guest character for Soul Calibur? There was someone that someone mentioned that I thought would be sick. Oh, like Haumaru. Like, would actually be pretty sick if you put in a Samurai Showdown character. I think.
That would be cool. That makes a lot of sense.
In Soul Calibur, I think that would actually be super cool.
Yeah, BB Tag is my current favorite game.
Yeah,
I believe it's the best game right now.
Super fun game. But yeah, I've been spending all my time on Tekken. So
my nooch has gotten better in BB Tag.
Your what?
My nooch.
What's that? I don't know of anything about that. That's not an existing term to me.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
I hate that word.
The nooch. Yeah, it's gotten better. By which I mean... By the way, thanks for the subscription.
Straight up.
By which I mean way dumber. So it's not now that I'm just like trying to do normal grappler stuff and I'm calling Tager Spark Bolt and then dashing forward with wall, which is how I was playing for the first like couple of months.
Right.
No. Now I'm calling Tager Spark Bolt, doing super jump, forward dash, air C with walled steam, which is the big splash, and then that can cross up or not. And also I could just active switch to Tager in the first place from way far away, so your anti-air against walled steam doesn't matter. And I can do that before or after the Spark Bolt. It's just dumb, but it's a lot of fun, and that's basically the game.
Yep.
It's just whatever you can do to just bypass the nooch.
Yeah, I was finding some new... Right before I stopped playing it, I was finding new stuff to do with my Aurier Blake team that was kind of busted as well. So yeah,
that's how all the teams are. So I was playing against this Jubei Jin team. And he was doing all the crazy crap that I thought Jubei could do, with like the cross up and then when do you active switch or not kind of nonsense. It was legit, especially with a character like Jin backing him up. So he has like Jin slow fireball, but then he also has as Jin on point with Jubei in the back, that super slow annoying fireball, the bouncing thing. That team seems really strong.
Dude,
that character I think is really good.
Every team Jin plus this character is a really strong team.
Yeah, that's true. But I do think that Jubei is really good.
Okay. Canada Cup, Third Strike. I would like to commentate Third
That'd
Strike.
Be great. Yeah, we're still talking about that stuff.
Yeah.
Hopefully so. We'll be there, though.
Is Tetris Effect going to be at CTWC? If it is, then I will definitely try it. CTWC is not going to be this weekend. It's going to be the next weekend. That is the Classic World Tetris Championships. I'm sorry, Classic Tetris World Championships. I will be back again there this year to do some commentary for TGM and for NAS Tetris. So that should be super exciting and be a lot of fun. So it'll be at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo once again.
When is that?
It's not this weekend, but the next weekend after that. And it was just cool because like when I went there, I had a time to just go play all those old video games.
That's cool.
Crazy Climber and all these old games and stuff like that. Should be a lot of fun. So there you go.
Hakumen in BB Tag, I think, is pretty good, but maybe not like fantastic. He just deals an incredible amount of damage. His mix-ups are like okay. He's got some overhead low stuff, but yeah, he doesn't have the like slowly building up meter thing anymore, right? So it's about like canceling stuff into stuff, which is the mechanic.
He's more about trapping people with that really slow assist.
His assist is super slow.
Yeah, you do that and then switch when you're sandwiching them, and then now you got to deal with this, and you're scared of this thing because that assist does a crap ton of damage too. Yeah. So you're just terrified the whole entire time. So
yeah, and Soul Calibur launches in I think a week and a half.
Yep, it's coming out very very soon.
Who do you think is bad in BB Tag? I think they're basically good characters. Who's bad?
Yeah, I don't know if there's anyone. I mean, everyone said Yukiko early, right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I haven't actually. I saw a bunch of Yukikos like the day after the patch, and I don't think I've seen one since then. And I haven't been playing her either.
Yeah, I was excited because after the patch,
I think Yukiko is better. I've heard Kanji's better too. I haven't seen him though.
After the patch, Jubei became way more legit, like as a solo character.
Yeah,
I don't think he's going to be great as a solo character. He's obviously his strength comes from having teammates, but man, I miss my Jubei Yuzu team.
He's good.
Yuzubei.
Welp, I don't think we have anything else to talk about.
No.
But yeah, I think my vote's probably Chia is the worst character.
Really? I thought she was really damaging. I thought she
does do
super high damage.
Yeah, I don't think anybody sucks, but I think she's, in my view, probably the worst.
Okay. What legacy characters would you like to see in Street Fighter V?
Whatever.
I mean, for me, it's always been I want Honda there.
Yeah.
I want Honda there because
Edmund Honda.
Get this at 86.com by using my affiliate link at tinyurl.com/86jchensor.
Nice.
And that way you can get cool swag and support me at the same time. I really want Honda because he's the only Street Fighter 2 character not in the game. I want Sodan because he's the only character from Alpha that has not returned in 4 or 5.
Right.
So that's
I want 12.
Yeah, I know you want 12.
And it doesn't really matter to me that much.
Character would suck. Character's so bad. No, that's correct, Boats and Joes. Thank you.
It would be nice if Sakura was in the game as a good-looking character.
Yeah.
She is a pile of crap.
I know Callisto is not big on it, but is it more gameplay or is it just animation that bothers you? I know gameplay is obviously also a problem as well.
I don't even think she's that bad. She's just so bad looking.
Yeah.
She looks terrible.
Shout outs to Colby Santana for the subscription from Twitch Prime.
Heyo. Anyway, you about done?
Should we just
I don't know, we don't have to write it out until Capcom, whatever they're calling it.
Connect starts. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Dude, they definitely should bring back Hakan. You know why? Because if they announce Hakan, there's going to be all those people who are like, oh, I'm so excited for Hakan. I loved Hakan in 4.
There will definitely be that. Definitely.
Yeah, and everybody is just
the 2 Hakan players in the world are like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. How do I learn Unist? 2 ways. One, check out the playlist on my pinned tweet, which leads to youtube.com/UltraChenTV, where Choi Sauce and I go through all the characters, etc., and all the game systems and explain all that. And secondly, buy the game and use their tutorial, because their tutorial is really, really good. The tutorial is excellent. So, and then play online and just go.
Radaka claims he's the number 13 Hakan on PC in North America.
Sure. I'm sure he'll be happy to see Hakan again. Saw the people who were all super happy, but that Mika was coming back. Like, I loved Mika! You didn't play Mika
I knew
in Alpha 3.
For sure fewer than 5 Mika players I'd ever met.
Right.
Ever.
And 2 of them were like me and Crack Prawn, right? And
you 2 and Olaf Redlund were, I think, the only people I knew who at all cared about Mika.
Okay.
I think that's it. I did a lot of traveling in the FGC, and I never met somebody who was all about Mika.
How difficult would it be to stream NES Tetris? It would be I don't know what the solution. I haven't looked into that yet on the right way to stream NES Tetris. But now that I have an OSSC, it might actually be a little bit easier. I know the NES Classic has a little bit of input lag, so it doesn't work very well for that. So I would have to come up with some different way to do it. But I still have my Nintendo. I still have my Tetris cartridge. Not only that, but I have the Nintendo, which is the top plug-in, the new one, which is super rare, and everybody wants that one because it plays cartridges much better. Okay. You don't ever have to worry about blowing into the cartridge to push it in and click it down and everything. Like, I have the top loading one, so it's really rare, very valuable, because it didn't sell for very long, but it's, for like almost all intents and purposes, a better Nintendo console. But I have that, and I have the original Nintendo Tetris, so I could stream for there, and I think with the OSSC I might be able to do it fairly laglessly, so maybe I can stream it. We'll see. IRL stream it, dude. Yeah, I'm working on the TGM stream right now. I'm still trying to get a super gun, which is the hardest part, because I thought a super gun was like, hey, this person makes the super gun, or that person sells the super gun. There's like 19 different super guns, and they all have like different qualities, and some of the best ones are, all the good ones are made by just some dude who just like makes them, and so like, I want this. He's like, I don't have any right now. I have to sit down and make a bunch of them, and then they're ordered, and then you got in the back ordered, there's a list and all this other stuff. So super guns are way more complicated than I thought. And yeah, when Tetris Effect comes out, I will definitely be streaming it. Oh, I've talked to Art before, and trust me, when I talked to Art about how to stream on, like, with the super gun and everything like that, dude, that is the rabbit hole that you go down, because he will just start talking, and then there's just all this information, and I'm just like, I have no idea what's going on. So yeah. The AVS from Retro USB. Okay. Yep, I will definitely be working on that. So, in any case, Capcom Connect is going to be coming on. This is week number 3.
Yeah.
I believe the guests that they're going to have this week are shoot. I knew who they were ahead of time. Let me get you that right now.
Okay. I have no idea. I've been going to physical therapy for my many ailments, and that was part of it was today.
Myers, that's what it was.
Oh, that's cool.
Myers is going to be on there. Myers, and I think LPN is back on there. So
okay, good.
Well, check that out a little bit tonight. That's going to be happening in 10 minutes. So there you go.
Actually, it has helped so far. It's only been 3 or 4 weeks. So it's going to take quite a while. But the most immediate problem, which was that my bicep tendon was tearing and my 2 rotator cuffs are also tearing. I mean, they're still doing that, but they've been helping me get better posture that relieves some of the stress on it so it doesn't hurt as much.
Okay.
And they've also been helping me make the muscles around that area stronger so that even if the tendons fall apart, which is a real possibility, that the muscles will at least keep it all in place. So yeah, it has been helping.
Jesus. Okay. Yeah. Dang.
Do I bench with bad form? I can't bench because I don't have rotator cuffs. I can't bench.
God.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're half gone.
that's not even to do with age. You've been having these problems for a while now.
So
right?
it turns out that I have hypermobility and ligament laxity, and that's something. Hey, you can test it yourself. Can you do this at home? Let me know if you can do this. First of all, try to do this thing that I showed you.
Which one? Which was?
Yeah, put your thumb down to your wrist.
Oh, yeah.
You can't do it. So I can do it pretty easily, like this.
Oh, dang. Okay.
It just goes like that. Let me know if you can do that. And then the second one is, can you do this with your fingers? Just put them with, how do I show this on the internet here? I'm trying to see it on the... Can you put your fingers at 90 degrees? How is this so difficult? Yeah, there it is. They're just like at 90 degrees there. No, not like that. Look, the actual fingers are at 90 degrees to my hand.
I see. Yeah, no, this is as far as I can go.
Anyway, so I can do that. And I've been able to do that stuff since forever, since I was a little kid. But I never thought that was weird, because if you just grow up with like your body being able to do a certain thing, you don't think like, can everybody else do this?
Right,
You just assume it's something that people do. But it turns out that that's an indicator that I just have extremely mobile tendons and joints.
Okay.
And that fits in with my experience of breaking and dislocating so many joints.
So is that a good thing or a bad thing to have those?
So it can be a good thing if you're doing certain stuff, like if you're a gymnast, that can actually be helpful. Yeah.
Right. Okay,
but if you have had as many injuries as I've had from playing sports in the non-professional capacity, just like messing around, then it's not a good thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Can you do this? All right. Let's see if I can show this. Oh, look at that. That's my scapula coming out of where it should be.
Ultra Dulcim from Ernesto. I like that. Shout outs to Ernesto with the 1 bit. Woo!
It's the shoulder blade that's extending like 6 inches.
Okay, yeah, okay. So tune in to Capcom Connect coming up in 5 minutes.
See ya.
Oh my god. Oh wait, hang on a second. It was so gross I almost forgot to bird us out of here.
I'm just saying, if you have noticed those things yourself, you may want to get yourself checked out and see if there's anything that you can do about it. You can definitely take certain supplements that will help you, which is what I've been doing lately since I've gotten physical therapy. You can do physical therapy to learn how to make it so your body's not going to fall apart. Because it's cool to have parlor tricks, but the other side of it is that, I have tearing and broken joints and all sorts of other stuff. So it's not actually great. But I can do this.
Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! No. But you have the hitchhiker's thumb, right?
I don't know.
So just try to bend your thumb as far back as possible.
Oh,
yeah, you do have. Is that that's hitchhiker's thumb. No, that's not weird. That's 50% of the people have that. So there you go. Anyways. Okay.
See ya.